And we're live.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Sunday Night Blood Bowl. Here. No, it's actually called Those Aren't Biscuits. My name is Jonathan Cadotte, and with me, as always, is Owen Adams. Say hi, Owen.
Hi. Technically, Sunday Night Blood Bowl isn't biscuits, so I suppose that's, you know...
Yeah, I mean, I would never lie to you.
Accurate. I still thoroughly enjoyed someone who came in yesterday and said, came for the Blood Bowl, stayed for the sounds of the man eating, which was pretty good. So I'm gonna find some snacks midstream and see if we can replicate that effect. How are you, sir? I'm pretty good. Sorry, you asked me. I'm gonna bounce it back to you. I'm pretty good, although I haven't had a very busy week, so I don't have too much to talk about myself either. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. It's been a real busy week for me, but nothing incredibly interesting. Give me 1 second. I have to adjust my mic.
Okay. I should probably talk. Keep it entertaining, you know? Emile Defarge in the chat says, hello, Emile, by the way. Have you ever been on time? Probably not.
Hello. No,
hello.
We have not.
Whoa, you've gone all professional.
No.
Hello.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. My darling, thinking of you now. Yeah.
You've lost that loving feeling. Oh, that loving feeling.
How popular do you think the stream would be if we just did that all episode?
There's only one way to find out.
That could be the show from now on. Hello to Sinister Minister, how you doing?
Hey, everyone.
And yeah, because I don't think Jungle Rat's saying it yet, but if you are new here, this is a live stream show we do every week where we talk about stuff, and the games are sort of incidental to that, but fun.
Yeah.
And John knows how to play Blood Bowl now, right?
Sure.
I think you got the gist of it. You're going to be really frustrated, though, when you go back to do the campaign, because the campaign works on limited rules. So it gradually introduces concepts one at a time.
Oh, okay.
Which we do?
That would annoy me.
Any preference?
See.
Oh, it's letting me pick. Fine. Forgotten Tunnel. We're doing Forgotten Tunnel. Hello to Ninth Dimension Gaming. How you doing, guys? Hello to Fuzzy Weasel. Emile Defarge says, one would hope so after last week's bonanza.
You know that actually song has words?
La 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 bonanza.
That's kind of what it is. It's like bumping a bump and a bump. Dun, 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 dun. Get 'em up, move 'em out. Bump, dun, dun, dun.
Isn't that the theme tune to Rawhide?
Maybe.
As well. They're the same words. Is it actually true that in actuality all American TV shows actually have the same lyrics, just nobody's noticed yet?
Yeah, right. Intro to MASH. Just get 'em in, move 'em out.
Get 'em in, move 'em out. Get 'em in and move 'em out. Get 'em in and move 'em out.
This is an allegory for the Vietnam War.
I found out something amazing recently. So my dad used to love the movie MASH, right? He liked the TV show too, but he loved the movie MASH. And I watched it with him, and he told me that Suicide is Painless is one of his favorite songs, like one of his absolute favorite songs, right? And it was a very successful song. Like, it went to like top the charts for many years. Anyway, I found out recently that song was...
everyone, ease up. You don't have to jump the gun on the money-making thing yet, alright? Let's ease into that, guys.
So
Sorry,
I found out recently that that song was written by the director's son, who was like a kid at the time, and he asked him to write the stupidest song he could think of. Like, it's not supposed to be good at all.
I guess that makes sense.
They put it out there thinking it was terrible.
As you do.
But I like Suicide is Painless. Does that make me an idiot?
That's good. Oh, did that song have words?
Yeah, the original movie version does. Don't you remember? Through early morning fog I see visions of the things to be, the pains that are withheld from me. I realize and I can see that suicide is painless. It brings on many changes, and I can take or leave it if I please. There you go.
Okay, that's a stupid song.
Yeah. My favorite verse is, a wise man once requested me to answer questions that are three. Is it to be or not to be? And I replied, oh, why ask me?
So it's actually that section of the song is just like, I don't know, quit fucking asking me. I don't really know, please leave me be.
Alright, let's see. I'm going to catch up with the chat. Oh, do you want to catch up with the chat? Because it's going to be my turn first. An enraged fan hurls a large rock at one of the players on the opposing team. Rugask suffers an injury. Oh. That's me.
Yours or mine?
Yeah, it was your... Oh, good. I guess I'll use my apothecary. Still my favorite song for dumb lyrics, though, is, what were they called? AFI
it's
Summer Girls?
Friday, gotta get down on Friday.
New kids on the block, had a bunch of hits. For Chinese food makes me sick. And I think it's fly when girls stop by for the summer. I like girls that wear Abercrombie and Fitch. I take her if I had one wish. Billy Shakespeare wrote a whole bunch of sonnets. Alright, it's my turn, so do you want to handle the chat while I'm doing this? I think we should subdivide labor like this. We get a lot of chat messages. Yeah, your kick, by the way, it went outside the field when it just because they do sometimes. When it does, you get to basically give the ball to a player. Basically.
Okay, so just covering the chat real quick. Ninth Dimension Gaming is really enjoying the caps lock, so alright. Let's see here. Ashton Modry says, hi, Papa British and Jonathan. Hello, Ashton. Emile DeForge says, I have a new money-making scheme. I bet you do.
Hey, we do the jokes, all right? We do the we do the japes. Don't you get too comfy.
Okay. Nice Magic Gaming says, okay, Owen, what is the master heist you have to do? All right, we'll get there. Emile DeForge says, loan shark. I'm
going with something more pleasant this year. This time.
Oh, that's nice. Let's see here. Jonathan, you can get all of the money from the slots. No, you cannot. If you, as someone who knows a little bit about slot machines, no, you are never gonna you're never gonna get rich playing those. All right,
all right, you're up. I'll take over. Emile DeForge says, Owen, your voice is so mellow. Singing voice. What? Okay. No, that's just the song. We loan shark a loan shark. That's the scheme? That's my favorite get-rich quick scheme. I will see half these messages you saw. Are we looking at different messages? Oh, there we go. No, I found it. Fuzzy Weasel says, get off the stage. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. The big long messages with caps, they have to stop now, thank you. Good choice.
I didn't. Oh, god damn it. Alright. So I don't quite remember how to play this game. I didn't get to choose.
No, when the dice are red, that means the opponent's got a higher defense than your strength, I think. This is why you gotta do the tutorials, John. And then you don't get to choose, I'm afraid. I get to choose what happens. You could have re-rolled, though. Triangle to re-roll, remember?
Oh, yeah. Alright.
Alright, let's see what we got here. Oh, now I've got stuck in my fucking head. Somebody once told me.
Okay, Emile DeForge says, oh, and your voice is so mellow. Ashton Modry says, "How is the day treating y'all?" Pretty good. I'm home from work. Pretty easy day for me. And so now I'm playing some Blood Bowl, man. Woo! Get ready. Boom. Yeah. For those in Americans know that this is a big football day. American Football Day. So that's cool.
Is it?
Yeah. It's the championship day. So there's two games. There's two games being played today.
Oh,
and,
come on. He's just closer to the guy with the ball now. This is not useful. Whee! There we go. Make that very difficult for him.
So, there's two games being played today, and whoever wins these two games go on to play in the Super Bowl. Or the Superb Owl.
The Superb Owl?
As internet people think they're so fucking clever.
I kind of like that. That's the kind of joke that the first time you hear it's pretty good.
Let's see here. Nope, have never heard that song, Ninth Dimension Gaming. I don't really care for the 21 Pilots, honestly.
We get to the chat a lot more with Blood Bowl because I'm like, I can't talk about stuff. I got stuff to do. Ooh.
Okay, not sure why you...
Oh, you get to choose.
What?
This is your choice. You got a move called Sidestep.
Attention. Where am I?
Well, you went there. Well done. Oh, that was my ogre.
Oh, okay.
Are we about to have the rarity of an actual move, an actual touchdown in a game of Blood Bowl?
I don't know. I have like one opportunity here.
All right, I'm over. Come on, let's do this.
Is it my turn now?
Yeah, it's your turn.
Yes, it is.
Go for it.
Okay. I'm going for it. I got one shot at this.
Just catching up with the chat.
Yep.
Oh, I get to pick. Okay. So, how's your week been, buddy? What's been going on?
Well, it's been, like I said, it's been a little busy.
It's you again.
Those of you who don't know. Oh, shit.
This game's brutal for trying to have a conversation through.
Right. As though you might know, I have been directing a play this last few months for a local theater troupe, and goddamn, I am really trying hard to have this conversation.
Sure, no, I'll tell you, I'll talk while you do your turn, okay? And then we'll swap.
Okay.
I have nothing to say. This is not going well. No, you continue talking about your play. This is so funny. No, I'll tell you what.
Okay. No, I got it.
Okay.
Oh shit, I have to dodge. Oh.
Well done. Impressive.
Yeah, I thought so. Whatever.
Wait!
Oh! Screw it.
It's not even my fault. You did it going for it, didn't you? Oh! I
didn't stand up any of my people. Yay! Fuck.
Sure, I had a guy on the ground. Okay. Yeah. Well, continue. Tell us about your play. You'll be able to focus now.
So yeah, we're getting down to it. We have 1 week left of rehearsals, and our opening night is next Friday. So if you guys can make it, so that's pretty exciting. We've been really trying hard on it. We've been really we have a lot of cool stuff going on with it. Oh yeah, I'll dodge. What? Okay, let me.
Oh, I get to choose.
That's you. Yeah. So yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff going on with it. It's a little bit more extravagant than some of our other shows in terms of like multimedia stuff. We have like video stuff going on and sound work being done, and we have a lot of stuff being done with like we have a lot of stuff going on with how do I say this, like light shifts and colored lights that are supposed to kind of like tell part of the story, you know, just with like different colored lights and stuff.
Yeah. It's your choice.
Oh, let's keep just moving over this way, huh? Jesus.
Hey.
No, I did not write it, Emil. It's a lot of people might actually know this one. It's an adaptation of a book called The Giver. Which is a very popular book, at least over here. I remember we actually had to read it in school. So it's strange because it's kind of actually sci-fi. The premise behind it is it's this kind of like this perfect community, or not, I want to say perfect. Let's see here. Yeah, I'll use the apothecary.
Apothecary me up, Scotty.
Good God, my entire team is just laying on the field. What the fuck?
All right, I'm ending my turn.
So yeah, it's like a perfect society, but it's because everything's like same. It's a big thing called like sameness, and artificially so. They basically have artificially created the sameness stuff, and to do so, they eliminated all knowledge of pain and suffering and other things like color and happiness and emotions. So the story revolves around this one kid who gets picked to be what they call the receiver of the memories. Oh, fuck off.
Did you fill the role?
No, you blocked, apparently.
That's why you gotta check the stats on the little guys. I never do. I never really know if it counts. Alright.
But, okay, so anyways, this one kid, Jonas, he gets picked to be the new receiver memory, so he's going to be the only one who has any knowledge of things like war and hunger and family and love. And
it's all right, you're back.
Nice. And so that's kind of what the play's about, is him learning about what these things mean and why they're important in societies, and why this forcing of sameness is kind of maybe wrong, and there's some really dark things happening in his community to make sure that this happens. The sameness exists, like euthanasia. That's kind of a big deal. Okay, there we go.
Oh god. Oh god, no!
Get out of here! Get some!
Oh, there goes the ball. Have you noticed a lot of your players look like, the gang from Dark Knight Returns?
Yeah.
Alright, yeah, get your players stood up. Should've done that first. Always get your players up first. Did my guy die? Did he leave to take the game? I didn't see.
Oh.
Damn it. Oh, he's going for it. He's going for it. Oh,
Yeah.
Dead. Oh dear.
No, 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 no. Maybe I should go for it. Get some more distance. Whatever. No, no, no. Don't do that. Don't do that.
That would have been a very bad pass.
Oh, you dumb bastard. Whatever. There.
Oh.
Oh, he's already done something. How about you? Can you make it? Do I have to dodge? Yeah, I can do this. Oh, oh.
Oh. Go, Johnny, go. Go, Johnny, go.
No, don't want to do that. Don't. I changed my mind.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. This is going well.
Screw it. Well, never mind.
Make sure you pick... Oh, no, it's my choice, isn't it? Which shall I pick? That one. I was going to say, make sure you pick the one with the little explosion.
Oh, it's sameness, Emil. So yeah, that's kind of the that's basically the idea of the plays. This kid who has to basically learn all the things that we live with on a daily basis, and has to come to terms with what they mean for society. You know. And it's actually pretty dark. It's a pretty dark show. I'm not gonna lie, and which is strange because the main actors are pretty much all like 12-year-olds. So we have to kind of tell this really dark story with children. And I'm actually really nervous because I think a lot of like the people who are coming to go see this show might be oh, fuck you. A lot of these people might be thinking that this is like a kid's show, and it's kind of not. But that's kind of been what my weeks have been all about. Is it a professional production? No, it's community theater. Everyone's volunteers. We're all just kind of doing it for the for the love of it, the enjoyment. But you know, we are taking it seriously, and it takes work. It takes a lot of work.
So how good are the actors these days, would you say? Community theater. I've always been interested.
I think they're pretty good. You know, for what it is. Oh, what the hell? So, yeah, apparently, high elves not good against orcs. Jesus.
It's alright. It's still not going great.
Yeah, well, you're all my... Oh, good. I didn't fall down, at least.
That's John's motto.
I didn't fall down, at least. Yeah.
Yeah, I wish I could make someone fall down, because this is kind of part and parcel of... Oh, damn it. Yeah, fair enough.
What turn are we on?
5, I believe.
5. Okay. Welcome back, Ninth Dimension Gaming.
Oh, shit. You're up. Oh, couldn't you have chosen the knockback?
Alright, here we go.
Alright. See how this is gonna go for you.
Anyone else down? No, everyone else is up. Oh, yay.
By the ball.
Okay.
By the ball.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Good call. Thank you.
It's alright. I've got to remember I am teaching you to play as well. I can't just thrash you. As if that's not even happening.
Okay, so this is what I'm going to do here. Oh, only 67. Oh, go for it, buddy. You can do this.
It's always 67. That's as
you.
high as a ball pickup goes.
Okay. So then you, sir, need to...
Oh, you're going to try a pass?
Get there. I'm going to...
I don't think you can pass once you've moved.
Damn it! Well...
But good strategy.
Yeah, I was going for it. This just got way more complicated.
Oh, good luck.
I can't even see what it is.
It's a skeleton. You want to re-roll that? Yep. It's a knockback.
Fine.
Yay! That went well.
I gotta get some of these other... Yeah, I guess.
Oh, I just whacked my elbow on my desk, and it is very uncomfortable.
Ooh!
Emile DeForge says, I was in a very dark community production about Beauty and the Beast. It was based in the war. Do the kids acting understand the dark concepts of the play?
They do, and they kind of love it. Well, here you go. And that's kind of the thing, too. These kids are really into how dark it is. And it's almost unsettling. Because there's it's a very shocking scene, and I hope no one's going to go see that, actually, I'm not afraid of spoiling this. There's a scene where we basically euthanize, a child on stage. Not, I mean, not for real.
Oh shit!
That's what we have to tell the PTA.
Damn it!
But yeah, the kids are way into it. They're like way into the scene where we have to basically kill a baby on stage, and like really into it. And I'm really uncomfortable about it. We're like, why are you guys like really excited about this? Yeah, exactly, Emile. It is a bit dark. But yeah, so that's been kind of my week. Just been doing more and more rehearsals. We've been, just really kind of nailing it, as close as we can. Make it as tight and with as few mistakes and as we can. One little fun thing is that, yeah, lay down.
I won't bother re-rolling that one.
Okay.
I was born on the Blood Bowl field. You merely adopted it.
Alright, here we go. This is a thrower, and this is a catcher. Still got...
We want to catch ya, not a belly scratcher.
Get there!
Oh, John might be about to get his first touchdown. Yay!
Ah! Yeah! Woo!
Is it a genuine woo?
Yeah! Look at them cheerleaders. Yeah, I bet the orcs don't have cheerleaders like that.
It's a great feeling, isn't it, when you actually finally get one?
Yeah! I'm the best Blood Bowl player alive! Nope, no dead baby jokes, but there have been some made. Not gonna lie. Yeah, I'm just... Yeah, somewhat. But yeah, so... That's it. So one little fun thing though that is during the production is oh that's
Lovely.
nice. Is our actors managed to memorize their lines well enough where they were not using their scripts all of last week, and we made a deal with them if they could do that they would be able to dress me and my co-director up however they want using the costumes from our costume shop. When because we have to make a speech before every performance, so these kids now get to dress us up however they want, and yeah, I think they have something against me because I was hearing some of their ideas that they've had, and there's been talk of a tutu and fairy wings and a fedora as part of my costume.
You think that they might have something against you because why would they think your normal outfit is a costume?
They clearly just don't know me, and that's upsetting. But I heard them talk about, like, oh, what are we going to have my co-director dress up as? Oh, they have a like a Nightmare Before Christmas boogeyman outfit up there. So he's going to dress up in a burlap sack, and I'm going to be dressed up like I'm going to a pride parade. And and I have to do like a kind of a professional speech in front of an auditorium full of people. So that's going to be fun.
Sounds like the last day of school.
Well, at least I didn't tell him I spoke Japanese. So.
Yeah, only a total... You realize it's your turn, right?
Oh, shit, really?
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't call it out. I should have done. Only a total fool would do something like that.
Yeah, really. It's, Oh, come on.
Would you prefer this game without the timers on the turns?
I would.
Should we see if there's a way to turn it off next time?
Maybe.
Mind you, I didn't see a game settings or anything. We'll take a look. I would prefer it, because it just gives you a chance to just pace it out a little bit, you know?
Right.
And when you're playing against the computer or you're playing online, there's a reason for it, but... He's going for it! Oh, he's not going for it. He's not going for it!
They run so stupid.
Yeah, they do. It really makes me laugh. I love this game.
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
So, I could say about what I've been doing, which is not that interesting, but it's something we can talk about if you were done. I don't know if you were finished.
Yeah, that's been kind of my week. I got another topic, but that's not yet.
So I have been rewatching the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies. I mentioned this last week, but I didn't really get into it. That Beth found on Facebook a thing that basically spaces it out where if you watch a Marvel movie a week between now and Infinity War, you will have caught up by the time of Infinity War, with 1 week for Black Panther, right?
Okay.
So we should be on week 4, but we missed one, so we're on week 3. We figure we're probably just gonna watch Black Panther like not the day week it comes out anyway. You know what I mean? So it doesn't matter too much. We'll just catch up. So I've been rewatching them, and we watched Iron Man, of course, which is the first one. Incredible Hulk, which I am on the record as saying previously I do not enjoy, and Iron Man 2. And it's been kind of interesting because I don't know. You've seen those 3, right?
Yeah. Actually, I don't think. No, I did see it. I finally did see Hulk. Don't remember shit about it, but I did see it.
Yeah, well, it's pretty bad, to be honest. So I've been kind of just kind of thinking about what I like about those movies and what I don't, and how interesting they are at establishing the tone. And I kind of have a few sort of thoughts and feelings that are kind of new to it. Like, firstly, like, it's really worth mentioning, Iron Man 1 is still a really great movie. Like, that is a really, really exceptionally well-written movie. And a well-acted movie. and just really well directed. To this day, it still feels like one of the fresher Marvel movies.
Is it? Oh, okay.
Because there isn't really a lot about it. Everyone talks about how Marvel movies, that's become the format. Like, I think Doctor Strange was quite like Iron Man, and I think
well, it's all the origin ones, you know?
Right. But it's actually still to this day, I think, a really fantastic film. And
I'd agree.
I was surprised how much I actually... Oh, that was a waste of time. How much I actually found it... It's your choice there. Yep. Still held up. Mostly because I think it does some stuff that that a lot of superhero movies aren't always brave enough to do. Like, it explicitly begins with a character who doesn't really deserve our sympathy, really, aside from the fact that he gets injured. Tony Stark, as of Iron Man, isn't just a flawed character, he's a bad character. He is a gleeful warmonger. Yeah. Perfectly happy to see people hurt so that he can become rich. Completely. Now, I would argue, even though they make him out to be kind of worse than that, I would argue even Stephen Strange isn't that bad at the beginning of the Doctor Strange movie. I mean, he's a jerk.
No, because he's a jerk, but he's not really... he's a jerk, but he's not, like, out, like, purposely making money off of hurting people, you know?
Right. So I was kind of surprised how Stark... how Stark is as a not overtly likable character, which kind of continued for me as I watched Iron Man 2, and I realized I don't know if we've ever talked about Iron Man 2 in much depth. So
a little bit.
Beth and I have a disagreement with Iron Man 2. I personally think it's actually almost as good as the first one, but kind of flawed in places. I think its biggest weakness...
Me and you disagree about that.
I think its biggest weakness, really, is that Iron Man 2 Oh, I've made a mistake. It retreads a bit too much from Iron Man 1, I think.
Yeah.
It covers a lot of the same ground, but I, for the most part, enjoy it. I think Jon Favreau, like, he bowed out after that one. And you're up. Because he didn't want to... He expressed some upset about having Iron Man 2 be turned into setup for the Avengers. A lot of it. And a lot of it clearly is, right? But I think there are some great sequences. That attack on the Formula 1 race course, and the inclusion of the suitcase suit, I think is really good.
Yeah.
That's just a great scene. So I really like it, but one thing that became really obvious to me this time is Iron Man 2 should not have been the third movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's completely wrong for it. It makes the cinematic universe too Stark heavy, too Tony centric.
Sure.
It makes the fact that they recast Rhodey really feel very sudden. And it also it gets into things that the cinematic universe gets into later that would have thematically been very good had it come later, right? Like, Blythe says, what is the main movie that started this conversation? Iron Man 2 we're talking about. So one of the big themes of Iron Man 2... The big problem with Iron Man 2, as I see it, the big weakness is, it has a lot of plots and not enough time to deal with them. So there's the plot of Tony Stark dealing with the government being generally apprehensive about the Iron Man suit being under control of basically a private businessman. That's like one plot. Then there's the plot of this guy who's come for revenge to show Tony that he's vulnerable, because then people... And that doesn't go anywhere either. Like, his whole thing of if people could see Iron Man bleed, they'll turn against him. That actually never happens. Like, he does just try and fight them in a big plot. Right? There's no like Dark Knight of, oh, they think the Batman is the villain, you know, or anything like that. It just doesn't work out like that. Sorry?
You can reorganize your team if you want.
No, I don't really want to.
Well, I can't do anything until you do something.
Well, it's saying end turn, not complete setup. Is that what I have to press? Because I don't want to end my turn. I want to...
Well, it's not your turn anyways. It's mine.
Okay. Oh, there we go. I see. Yeah, that's fine. But, like, for me, the strongest plot point in Iron Man 2 is Tony's Iron Man now, and the world seems great, but people in the government and in society are apprehensive about the idea that this kind of reckless businessman would control everything, right? Oh, there's also the plot of the arc reactor in his chest is killing him. Yeah. None of those plots is actually resolved satisfactorily, except for this creation of the new element one. And there's something that really irritates me about that too. Okay, I said it was almost as good as Iron Man 1. I have issues with this. They make this... Howard Stark in the film says, it's this secret, I'm giving it to you, Tony, and when you discover it, it'll change the world, right? And, you know, Major Fury says that to him too, right? When you discover this, it will change the world. When he discovers it, it doesn't change the world. He just uses it to make a new... He just uses it to make a triangle for his suit. That's it. That's all he does. He doesn't...
Is that not enough?
He doesn't use... He doesn't use his knowledge to help anybody, ultimately, once he's done that, except as Iron Man. So there's a lot of different plots, and I would say none of them come to a conclusion except for the Mickey Rourke plot and the Justin Hammer plot. So it's got all these elements that I think are established really, really well by the first half, and then they all kind of fall apart by the second half, I think. But it occurred to me that if Iron Man 2 had been, if it had come out when Iron Man 3 had, the first movie after the Avengers, and the plot had been a combination of, the plot from Iron Man 2 about the committees basically wanting to take possession of the Iron Man suit because they're worried about other countries finding competitors, and the plot from, Iron Man 3 about him suffering from PTSD, you'd have a really amazing movie there that would lead in very well to Civil War. Eventually.
Probably.
You know what I mean? It would lead very well into the themes about should this one guy control all this power. So it's been kind of interesting. And then in among that we have the Incredible Hulk, which is shit.
It is.
I have nothing to say about it. Like, its only contribution to the entire MCU is that in Civil War they put the General in there as the General. It's such a bad movie.
Oh, yeah.
What do you think about Iron Man 2? As I'm revisiting them, it's a good opportunity to talk about them again. Or Iron Man 1 or Incredible Hulk.
Iron Man 2, the biggest problem with Iron Man 2 is that it really showcases the fact that other than a few notable exceptions, or one notable exception, Iron Man's main villains are kind of... I don't know, they're not great. They're all either variations on himself or other angry warmongers who want to be better at funding. Oh my god!
Oh, that was a bad one. Can you use the apothecary? Emil says, is the Incredible Hulk in the MCU, the film? Yes, it is, technically. I think it's the only example of an MCU film where a lead character... I mean, Rhodey is not a lead character. But I think it's the only example of someone being recast, right?
Yeah, I think so. I thought there was another one.
The Incredible Hulk might as well not be in the MCU, though. I mean... Not only is its plot completely irrelevant to anything going on in the MCU, but the characterization, the Ed Norton characterization of the Incredible Hulk is not the basis for the Eric Bana performance. I don't think. The Eric Bana, the Mark Ruffalo performance.
Right.
It feels much more like the Eric Bana Hulk to me. Which I like that movie. I know people don't. I think that movie's fine. It's slow.
And yeah, Blas, you absolutely can express your opinions on this. Go nuts.
Yeah, we'd love to hear it. What do you think of the Eric Bana Hulk movie while we're on the subject? I know it's very divisive.
It's been so long, honestly, since I've seen it, that I don't know. It's just one of those things where I couldn't accurately talk about it because I just got nothing. Like none of those scenes like stick out in my head.
Whoa, hello. You know what I remember always about the Eric Bana Hulk movie?
What's that?
I don't know if you remember. It's a really weird plot. So in the Eric Bana Hulk movie, the gamma explosion doesn't turn him into the Hulk, right? His dad performs experiments on him as a baby, and then and then a gamma experiment he's doing as well. The combination of the two turn him into the Hulk, right? That's the setup. Right. And later on, his dad comes back, and his dad also experimented on himself, and his dad's got this weird obsession with basically his long-lost father has this weird obsession with basically unlocking his power, right? And his dad basically uses the machine to trigger an explosion on himself, trying to turn himself into a Hulk. But he turns himself into this this creature that can merge with materials. So, like... Oh, wow! Well done, sir. This is why I gotta get used to passing. And there's an amazing scene where, after he's done this to himself, his dad's kind of leaving the lab. And he's, like, merging with stuff. So, like, there's a CGI scene of him putting his hand through a pipe and becoming the metal. It's so good.
Right. Yeah, God, all that stuff, just does not ring a bell at all for me.
The original Hulk movie is kind of strange. Do you think maybe we haven't had any more Hulk movies because Universal still owns the distribution rights and they just don't want to make them?
It could be. I don't know.
Because Homecoming's a Sony movie, you know? It's an MCU movie, but it's an MCU movie through and through. It's just Sony pays for it, which is why it's good, because Sony makes shit movies. But Universal distributed Hulk and Incredible Hulk, so I wonder if they basically just don't want to make any Hulk movies because it's just not worth it. It sounds to me, from what I can figure out, it sounds to me like basically Marvel's had the same sort of deal with Hulk as they've had with Spider-Man. With Spider-Man as they've had with Hulk for a long time. But Universal's just like, eh.
Yeah, it's like, whatever. I mean,
says,
what's Universal? Oh, no! Because, like, what's Universal, like, done recently? They don't have any, like...
Jurassic World.
Is that Universal?
Yeah. Yeah, I always know if a film's Universal because they use the same standard issue menu on all their fucking Blu-rays. So the Jurassic Park box set, they always have the same menus. Yeah, they have these standard menus and they're awful. So whenever you get stuck watching it, and the Incredible Hulk Blu-ray is in the Avengers box set. But it's it's got that same Universal menu. It's all shitty. Blush says, I think Marvel is a bit overhyped and unfortunately not detailed enough story-wise, but on the other hand, as a tech nerd, I absolutely love CGI that they use in their movies. They do have good CGI, actually, and they often combine it with photographic elements. Oh, it's my turn.
Yep. I would... Okay, so... On an individual level, I think there are a few standouts when it comes to... I think there's a few standouts when it comes to...
Fuck. It was worth a go.
Yep. I think there's a few standouts when it comes to story. But I think when it comes to Marvel, at this point you kind of have to start looking at it as a whole rather than individual pieces, you know?
Some are too complicated as well. Like, some are too convoluted for their own good.
Right.
Age of Ultron is a really, really complicated...
Woo!
Well done, you are pretty much guaranteed to win this now. I still don't remember anything about Age of Ultron really that well.
Yeah,
Also,
there's some things to it. Emile DeForge says, my problem with MCU is it can never reach the complexity or extravagance of the comics universe, nor do you want it to.
No.
Honestly.
See, there's a difference... There's a big difference between the comics and the... Sorry, no, you finish. Carry on, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Okay. You don't want that same extravagance and complexity because it's the difference of the mediums. Comic books have the
Hey.
oh, cool. The comics have the benefit of having way more time. Their formats are usually 32 pages, and you know that's how they tell a story. And it takes so much. It's so much cheaper to make a comic book than it is to make a movie. So that's why they can do that stuff. And you, as a, why? Never mind. And the thing is, like, when you read comics, you actually have the choice, essentially, to kind of just ignore chunks of like the publication.
Right, that's what I was going to say.
Well, I'm not. Like, I don't want to read this story arc, and it's really not going to hurt you in the long run. They might mention it, an event that happened, but the truth of the matter is that it's not going to. After 2 years, something that happened, 2 years ago, is not going to have a huge effect on the story, and that's just the nature of comics.
That's what I was going to say. The biggest difference is that in all of Marvel Comics, the expectation would never be that you would read every comic.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the longer it goes on, the expectation is that you will have seen every movie.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, fuck you. You're already winning. Be nice.
Sit down. I mean, I can't get to that ball anyways, but...
Like, I've been trying to think about, like, what... oh, you could. Give it a go.
Nope. Yep. Alright, we roll it. Screw it.
Like, I would say there were a few MCU movies that are almost totally dispensable. I think Incredible Hulk's dispensable. Mm-hmm. I think Iron Man 2, I like it, but I think it's dispensable. I think Iron Man 3 is dispensable.
Mm-hmm.
Age of Ultron, unfortunately, is almost totally indispensable and kind of crap. I really don't like the plot to Age of Ultron. The more I think about it, the more it just does nothing for me.
Oh, that's right. I already moved with that guy. Shit. My issue with Age of Ultron is its execution. It's like, for me, I think the ideas behind it are really, really good. It's a setup for the Civil War. And so I like that. And I like the ideas of, it takes the same premise of, like, Iron Man 2, where it's like, something that Tony did, or an issue that he has led to this thing, but it does it in a much more grandiose fashion. Like, it really suggests that he has some consequences to deal with.
Right.
But it's just execution. I like James Spader. I really do. But... And I think it was bad direction. Like, I think they wanted him to kind of play that character, and he did it incredibly well, but I don't think it was the right tone for that character.
the problem is, the best scene with Ultron, and I'm not one of those people who's always like, oh, everything has to be dark and brr, but the best Ultron scene is when he first appears in that broken body. And it's terrifying.
Yeah, that thing is really scary.
And
let's see here.
They get from that to perfect, smooth, clean, powerful, but also very CGI Ultron.
Right. Well, I mean, there was that whole scene with, you know, them forging the vibranium and...
Yeah.
There was... I mean, to be fair, there was some explanation behind that.
Oh, I know, but I mean, it's over quite quickly, you know?
Right. Let's see. Oh, Emil DeForge has another question. He says, and my other question is, what do you think Marvel should do with his newly gained rights to Fox movies, Fantastic Four, X-Men?
Well, you go first because it's my turn.
Yeah, I think they should definitely wait a little bit. Let them go through. I think they should wait till they're done with Avengers 4, because that's, you know, that's their big plan, is to make it to Avengers 4. And I think that whatever happens with Fantastic Four and X-Men should be a result of the outcome of Avengers 4. You know, because I mean, clearly we're. I mean, there's already been rumors. There's already been rumors that after Avengers 3, there's gonna be some time travel stuff going on.
Oh, like you think they might reboot it?
Well, there's like time travel stuff because like the Captain Marvel movie is gonna be set in the 90s. And
is it? I didn't know that.
Yes. Gonna be set in the 90s, and there's been shots on set of characters like in their old uniforms, like Captain America in his first Avengers outfit and things like that. So there's suggested so I think that by the time they're done with Avengers 4, there's probably gonna be some opening for like, oh, well, because of the actions done by the Avengers, it's now opened up a time bubble that can now the X-Men exist and Fantastic Four.
Well, you know what you could do?
You know,
you could do it without time travel as well. You could say, okay, during the fight with Thanos, the Earth was bathed with a certain kind of radiation that appears to be having a mutation effect on teenagers.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That kind of ruins the idea of the X-Men, though.
That's true.
You know? I think the worst thing they can do is try to, like, I thought Spider-Man Homecoming was fine, and I liked Spider-Man's appearance in Civil War, but that's the only time you can do that, right? Because at this point, if you keep trying to wedge more and more characters into this already clearly established plot, you're going to ruin it. You can only get away with that so many times.
So, my opinion... Yep. My opinion of this is quite simple. Firstly, I think Fox should... Because the thing is, Fox still appears to be to some degree operating independently, right? In this deal?
Yes.
Yes. And there's been no... When the Spider-Man deal was done with MCU, Amazing Spider-Man 3 and the Sinister Six movies, cancelled, right? They just went, right? I don't think Fox should do that, because Fox is making some quite good X-Men movies right now. Like, I'm not interested in the follow-up to Apocalypse, because Apocalypse was really bad. But,
I still haven't seen that.
Oh, it's terrible. But you know, Logan was good. I think the New Mutants looks interesting. I don't want to see those projects cancelled because, oh, hey, we've got to suddenly roll everything into the MCU. But, you know, now Hugh Jackman's leaving. It's a very good time to reboot. I personally agree. I think before rolling those in, we need to get to the end of Infinity War. And, you know, that might be a very good time to retire a lot of the MCU characters, like say goodbye to regular appearances from Iron Man, say goodbye to Thor and Hulk. Do you know what I mean? Scale those back a bit and build again from scratch with the X-Men as a basis, you know?
Right.
That would work. You know, do a Wolverine
like
movie.
Or like how we said, with the Fantastic Four, you know, where you reset that movie back in the 50s.
Right.
You know,
and then you have
that
them
can be,
return to Earth after being exposed with cosmic rays in the present day, but have them leave in the 50s. Something.
If you're going to reboot it, you know, have the whole reboot start in the 50s. You know, that their actions in the 50s is what going to kick off the rest of, and they become like legacy characters when you bring in other ones. You know, where it's like, hey, remember what happened with these guys? You know, that sort of thing.
I always like. Do you ever think of an idea that almost hurts because you want to see it so much and you know it'll never happen?
Yeah.
Like, you know how much I'd kill for a Superman movie set in the 30s?
Right.
Or a Superman movie set in the 50s with an old Superman? You know? Blanche says that will not happen, Owen. Money! No, you're right, that absolutely won't happen.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But man...
let's see here. So...
Or a 1960s Spider-Man movie. Man, to be fair, that would be the same as the Raimi movies.
Mm-hmm. I would like to see a 1960s X-Men movie.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we got that, didn't we? We did get that, didn't we?
That's true.
First Class.
Do you know, I hate to say it, because I love Marvel so much, and I don't generally have a huge... Like, I think the X-Men movies have been very up and down, right? Very inconsistent in quality. But I think Days of Future Past might be actually better than most of the MCU movies. I think it's just a really fine film.
Days of Future Past, really?
Yeah! Don't you like it?
Oh, yeah, I do. It's just, I don't know,
I think it's really good.
I think it's better than a lot of them, but not most. That's just me.
So what would you say is still your least favorite MCU movie? Is it still Age of Ultron?
It's either Age of Ultron or Iron Man 2. I did not like Iron Man 2. I definitely didn't. But Age of Ultron is up there. It's one I didn't care for.
This is chaos.
It is. I'm like, what the hell's going on? Okay, let's...
Oh, okay, so let's do this. If you could think of a comic arc for any comic book character, let's go with only characters who have already had movies. So we're not going with, like, obscure people, if you know what I mean. No, like, the Squirrel Girl who has never had a movie, because a mainstream movie is, like, the course of action for her first. Do you know what I mean? But let's say, of all the characters who have already entered the movie universe, this is a strange restriction, I don't know why I'm putting this on first, but anyway... If you could see one, like, story or era adapted, like, faithfully, so if it was The Dark Knight Returns, for example, it would have to be set in that futuristic timeline, you know what I mean? Or if it was Kraven's Last Hunt, it would have to be set in the 80s, right. You know what I mean?
Yeah! Woo!
You are doing awesome today, sir. So what would you want to see? It's gonna be...
Rephrase the question again, I'm sorry.
Okay. It's a movie based on a comic. Let's go with superheroes, just because there are all kinds of comics. But it has to be basically faithful to the era the comic was produced. So if it was like, whatever happened to the Man of Tomorrow, so the Man of Steel, you know, it would have to be set during the 80s or during that time period. You know what I mean? Or
sure.
If it was the death of Superman,
storyline. Okay.
If it was the death of
storyline.
Yeah. If it was the death of Superman, it would have to be set during the 90s.
Sure.
Not that anybody would want that one. This is a weird question, I know, but that's what the show's all about. Sometimes weird questions can produce good answers.
Can I choose like a run? Not necessarily a specific story?
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be like a direct adaptation of a plot. It can be like this era, this encapsulated period. So, like, you could say, okay, I'd like a movie of Superman, of Electric Superman. Remember Electric
I'd
Superman?
See that. I'd watch that. No, I know exactly which one I would choose, and this is partly because yes, I am a fan of the character. All right, but I think it's also really interesting.
I wouldn't expect you to choose a character you hated.
Oh, there's a couple.
Oh, I just got the ball straight off. That's good.
Yeah. So there's a few runs of. I would like to see the Emerald Twilight storyline play out. Where Hal Jordan goes crazy and kills off the rest of the Green Lanterns, except for Kyle Rayner, and Kyle Rayner has to step up and take him on. I'd like to see that. But I'd also like to see the run of Green Lantern and Green Arrow in, I want to say, the late 70s, where they are basically taking on social issues like drugs, and take on like drug dealers and human trafficking and prostitution rings and stuff like that. I think that'd be really interesting. Let's see, on Marvel side, and it has to be characters who already have a movie, right?
No very obscure characters. You know what I mean? No.
Okay.
From the mainstream superhero pantheon.
Sure.
I know that's a little bit of an arbitrary restriction, but.
Right. No, it's fine. It's fine. I can make this work. Yeah, because I couldn't say Miss Marvel now because she's very popular now, but I think she's still fairly obscure for most people. Because I would love to see a Kamala Khan story. But I guess she's getting an animated film soon, or animated adaptation, so that's cool.
I wish they'd make some MCU animated movies instead of those cheap straight-to-DVD things, just as a kind of a mid-range thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Let's see here. Oh, we got the Runaways. They're obscure, though. They're really obscure. Oh, that's the weird thing. Like, my thing with Marvel is I kind of like... those are my characters. Like, I like the obscure ones, And then there's Daredevil, who I would say is kind of obscure if it not been for the recent... like all the Defenders from that line, I think, are all fairly obscure if it hadn't been for the Netflix shows.
Like, Daredevil's the most prominent one, but he's like the hook to get you into that group.
Right. God, I don't know. It's... Huh. Because, like I said, I like obscure character. Because, like, one of my first initial things is I want to see... I kind of want to see, like, a really dark... I want to see a really dark Cloak and Dagger,
I think I've been thinking about this.
But they're pretty obscure. God.
Emil in the chat says least favorite Thor 2. Thor 2 has problems for sure.
Yeah.
Have you seen that one now?
It's funny. I was watching a little bit of it at work today. It was in the break room. But no, I have not seen the whole thing. Man, I don't fucking know, man.
So I can tell you my answer. Aside from 1930s Superman movie, which I think we can all agree, a 1930s Superman movie with a 35-year-old Superman would be amazing. And pick an actor like who would be a good actor for an old-fashioned Superman today?
John Hamm.
I don't even know who that is off the top of my head. Who is that?
Mad Men.
Oh, okay. I could see that. I'd have what's his name from what's he called from Men in Black 3 and other stuff. Brolin as a more like
okay.
as a more like uptight
He's
Superman.
already in like 3 different.
I know.
He's already in like 4 different like movies, comic book movies.
So the one I would pick.
No, okay. I actually have an idea.
Okay.
I think of one. Now
It's your turn.
You're the one who made the stipulations here, so I don't know if this is gonna fly.
Oh, don't worry about it. I'm sure it will.
I want to see the Captain America story where you find out that Steve Rogers wasn't the first. It was
You know it's your turn, right?
yeah.
Just making sure.
Oh, why can't I stand him up? Where it was I can't think of his name. What the hell is his name?
I was really worried you were going to say Captain America Werewolf Story.
No. No, it's the one with... I'm trying my best not to say it this way, but it's the one with the black Captain America.
I know which one you mean. Vaguely.
Yeah.
They did a riff on him in the Spider-Man animated series. Do you remember that story where Spidey discovers a group of Captain America sidekicks?
Yep. But yeah, that one was really good because like it's a analogy of like the Tuskegee experiments,
Right.
and things like that, and like I don't know. I think it'd be really interesting to see that because it was a World War II. It'd be set in the World War II, and so you get to do a lot of that stuff, like how black people were mistreated by the military during these conflicts, and how they were basically cannon fodder, and they didn't. It was not good what happened, and like I said, these experiments happened, and you can kind of tell all these stories using him, because it's like that storyline. The comics does not have like a really great ending.
That'd be good, actually.
Can you imagine? You missed me whooping the shit out of Owen.
Can you imagine them doing that as an MCU movie? Captain America discovers that actually he was the second candidate, and the first one got absolutely no recognition because he was black, and has been erased from history because of this, and how that affects his own, like the Chris Evans Captain America, how that then affects his own perception on his right to call himself Captain America.
Right. I think that would have been a good Captain America 2. I mean, I love Winter Soldier. But if they weren't trying so hard to, build up the storyline with Bucky and then lead into Civil War and stuff like that, I think that would have been a really good choice for number 2. Because you'd get the same effect, right? Because at the end of Winter Soldier, Captain America is a little disenfranchised with everything, because he finds out that Hydra's been infiltrating things, and the government kind of let them. So if you would have had that same sort of outcome, except using this much.
No. Before we start another game, let's check if we can turn the timer off.
Sure. Au revoir, mes amis. Have a good one, Emil.
So I know which one I would do, and this is going to be kind of interesting, because here's the thing. I'm not going to go as in-depth, but it is my opinion that we haven't had a truly really good Batman movie.
Okay.
That captures Batman the character, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Chris Nolan movies come the closest.
Sure.
But I think they have issues. I think Batman Begins is actually the closest we have to a really authentic Batman movie, as in being true to the comics. I think Dark Knight's a very good sequel to Batman Begins, but moves further away from the comics,
Right.
Although, to be fair, The Dark Knight feels more like Batman Year One than Batman Begins does, even though Batman Begins borrows a lot from Batman Year One. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Batman Begins borrows a lot of, dialogue and scenes and moments from Year One, quite a lot of them, but it doesn't have that tone, you know? So I would say Batman Begins is the closest we have to a really, like, authentic Batman movie. But I realize that part of the reason this doesn't work for me is the Batman comics I read as a kid, because I really liked Batman as a kid.
You're going to say No Man's Land, aren't you?
No, I'm not going to say No Man's Land. Because I think No Man's Land is a great story, but I don't think No Man's Land would be a great, like, this is the ultimate Batman movie story.
Right.
Inducements, what does this mean? Oh, that's...
Inducement.
Oh, damn it. I've closed the game. I'm sorry.
Alright, well, I remember who I picked anyway, so we can go back.
Sensitivity of in-match cursor. That's a setting I can change. No, I can't turn it off. That's really annoying.
Oh, lame.
Yeah, so I would actually pick... I don't know which specific one, actually. No, I do. I would pick the, oh, what's it called? So it's a 1970s Batman story. It's, the Ra's al Ghul story, where Robin is kidnapped and Batman travels across the world with the help of a few people who are more than they seem, trying to find him and ultimately, catching up with Ra's al Ghul, only to find that what Ra's al Ghul wants is not to hurt him, but to for him to marry his daughter.
You know what the funny thing about that is? I don't know how they managed to pull this off, but they did do that story
In the animated series.
except with Arrow. That is season 3 of Arrow.
Is it? Really?
Yeah. Yes.
Is it Ra's al Ghul?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. I keep on telling you, like, yeah, season 1 of Arrow is really, really bad. Season 2, 3, and 4 are pretty solid.
I'm turning up to 4 minutes. That'll help.
Yeah, fair enough. Like, I would almost say that you can just not watch season 1. Just start with season 2.
That's nice, because, you know, season 2 of Supergirl it was only an episode, but they did, For the Man Who Has Everything.
Yeah.
I like that the DC shows are doing that, just being, you know, nice, faithful adaptations.
They straight up did that storyline. Like, yeah. It's, and in a weird way, they did also do No Man's Land a little bit.
Nice.
There is a section of one of the seasons where, like, Starland City is locked down and no one can get in and out. And
well, it is the sad truth of the Green Arrow that he is Batman when you don't have the rights to Batman, but you want to do Batman.
Right.
Because that's what that movie's all about, really. That season is all about trying to be the Dark Knight as a TV show, right?
Yeah.
Just not as good.
Yeah. Well, here's the problem with the first season of Arrow. It was, oh, look at these fancy fuckers. What the hell?
Well, that's your team.
Yeah. Hello, we're here to play football. But, oh, excuse me, Blood Bowl. I don't even bother moving my team around anymore for this shit. But no, the problem
apparently
with Arrow
I found the Chaos team. Have you seen my ogre?
Yeah, what the hell? Something seems wrong here. I'm playing against Cthulhu.
Be careful, if you look at him too long, you lose sanity.
Yeah, like I'm kind of going insane right now. I'm just, what the hell are all these lines? Alright, whatever.
Can we have a nice,
Oh, jeez.
It's a hell of a kick. Ooh. I'll take it.
Oh, you're on the Chaos All-Stars.
Yeah, do you think we're ever going to see... Do you know what? Oh my god, that's how far we've come, John. Do you know what I was about to say?
What's that?
Do you think we'll ever see Robin in a movie?
Oh, man. I would like to. I would like.
Yeah, but
I don't want to see Dick Grayson. That's my thing.
like,
I don't want to see Dick Grayson. I want to see.
I completely and totally forgot that we've seen Robin in 2 movies.
Sort of.
Yeah,
well,
there's a middle-aged man sent to live with Bruce Wayne.
I still love that. It's like, oh, your parents are dead. Oh, God, well, I guess I better collect the insurance and, move on with my life and get an apartment. Nope! You're gonna go live with this billionaire. What? No, seriously, I'm like 28, 30 years old. I can just... Nope, by law, you have to go live with a billionaire. Like, what? I guess... Huh?
When he gets there, Bruce Wayne's got a whole, like, cavalcade of handsome, toned young orphans.
Hello, Sam. He shows up. He's like, "Well, I prepared your room for you." Oh, okay. Well, thank you. It's like bunk beds, like a race car bunk bed, and there's like airplanes on the wall.
Alfred, do all the rooms in Wayne Manor have poles in them? No, I do like they do like the little race car bed, like little night light to. We got a little night light to help you sleep.
It's a little Batman nightlight. Just.
So, I was like 15 when Batman arrived in the city, right?
Okay, so.
Is it really any worse than
All right, Master Grayson, it's time for bed. Would you like some warm milk and some cookies?
No, I want some booze. Give me a beer.
No, I'm just gonna just drown myself in whiskey. Now, a growing boy needs nourishment.
And then the George Clooney Batman just kept him around. Just...
Yeah. Oh, shit, I didn't mean to do that. Fuck.
I'm thoroughly enjoying it. It always makes me laugh. Like, he's way too old to be sent to live with him. But,
my whole team is dead. The Dark Elves suck. Oh, it's still your turn. Okay, so I have one more topic, but I think before we get to that, Owen here said that he has another money-making scheme for us, or plan, not necessarily a scheme, a plan. And I'll tell you, I'm hurting a little bit for cash, so I'm willing to hear him out.
Okay. So, as you guys know, running these things on cheap, we got costs. We gotta get the games and things. A couple of weeks ago, I came up with a scheme for us to probably, monetize the channel forever. Once it was done, we would never need to do it again. But John, ever the coward, didn't want to go through with it.
What the hell is stab?
I don't know.
Okay,
so a couple of weeks ago, I presented our first idea, which was JC Cooper. But old JC didn't want to go through with it. Don't know why. The riches alone were worth the risks, don't you think, John?
No.
Do you know how much change buses carry?
Not as much as you think. Clearly. So
this week, I have a new scheme that's gonna cover the cost. We're gonna get, so it's called The Talented Mr. Cadotte.
Oh no.
So,
okay.
I think I figured out why you didn't like last week's scheme. Last fortnight's scheme, right? Now, we all know it's not out of any moral obligation to committing crimes.
Of course not, yeah.
But about a fear that people would know that you, Jonathan Cadotte, might, rob a bus. And then it's about the loss of your societal reputation, right? It's about...
Of which I have one.
It's about losing the the knowledge in your heart that your identity, the thing people know you as, is no longer seen as being like of the high moral standard. You know, I think everyone else would agree kind of slightly too high, but the high moral standards you stick to, right? That's what it's all about. Okay. So, with that in mind, what we need to raise money but also not put your ethical standards or your reputation at risk is you to essentially adopt a series of perfectly crafted identities in order to commit serious crimes across the high society of Europe. While also possibly doing everything you can to hide the truth from Gwyneth Paltrow.
Right, I would hate to have to lie to her, you know.
If possible, you are also going to have to kill Gwyneth Paltrow's lover.
Well, yeah. I'm not a big fan of Chris Martin, so fuck Coldplay.
Well, they're divorced. She's got a new person. I don't know who it is, but you're going to have to figure out who it is, and then kill them and impersonate them.
Fair enough. Can do. I'm on board so far. Like.
So here's what we need. Like, you may notice.
Oh shit.
That there is some similarity to nothing you've ever heard of. It's completely original. And
say thank you for your feedback, Juggalo. ICP sucks. Just to let you know. Enjoy your gathering of the Juggalos over in Kansas with a bunch of inbreds. Have fun.
Wow, it really got to you, didn't it?
No, it's just I don't like Juggalos. I have nothing against fans of bands, but when you guys decide to make yourself like a fucking cult, yeah, taking it a little too far.
Fair enough.
And ICP sucks. Of all the bands to have a cult around, ICP.
So, in keeping with the hit, ever-popular movie, The Talented Mr. Ripley, I might as well just come out and say it. I've been watching films. I think, do you know what? This scheme's not working for me, John. I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling the schemes. Everyone asks me for a scheme. There's too much pressure. Just go kill Gwyneth Paltrow's husband. And possibly Gwyneth Paltrow.
Jesus. So your scheme this week is double murder /7?
I can't be bothered. I didn't think about it enough. Everyone wanted another scheme. I don't care. I just thought of the talented...
This is your fault. You did this to Owen. You should be ashamed of yourselves, okay? You should be absolutely ashamed. He's a sensitive boy. Right? He can't handle this pressure. Right?
I sat down to...
Apologize to Owen now, chat. Apologize.
I sat down to actually, like, note down what I thought my ideas would be, because I didn't have any last week. I couldn't think of one. And then I wrote down The Talented Mr. Cadotte, and then I gave up. I was like, there we go, that'll do. I'll think of something. But no, I already have one. Sorry.
Yes.
Get over it. Someone will pay you for taking out Gwyneth Paltrow.
I'm sure. No one likes goop. Yeah.
I don't care anymore, John. I don't care about the wacky schemes. I just want to play Blood Bowl and talk about superheroes.
Okay, what if next week I come up with a scheme? Alright?
Sure. I'm tired. I don't really care. I just like chatting to you, John. Who cares if other people enjoy the show?
I'm just going to throw it out there. The title of it is Adam's 15. Okay? That's what I'm going with. Adam's
What's that
15.
a reference to?
You'll have to tune in next week to find out.
Well, this is not Adams Does Dallas.
Well, that's the week after. Look, the chat already knows that we script this, okay? Why don't we just try to keep up the pretense that we...
No,
we do not script this.
Can you imagine sitting down to try and write that script?
Like, oh shit.
Come on, Soph, what are you doing? My cat's walking around on me again.
Okay, well, that was a riveting segment. Thank you, Owen.
I didn't have much.
Mm-hmm.
I was only joking when I said it was a regular segment the first time, and then people wanted it again. So what else happened to you today, John? This week? What's going on?
Not much.
I have nothing to talk about. I've had a very boring week.
No, I do have something to talk about, actually.
Oh my god, you make it sound like I'm in trouble. What are these lines
now,
that keep
Mr.
appearing on
Adams.
screen now?
Oh, come on.
Really?
Get down. I don't know. Where's the ball? Oh, he saw the ball. No, I watched after many weeks of saying that I would watch this damn
John,
movie.
I'm just going to be a complete and total dick and interrupt you, right? I really need to feed my cat because she's walking all over me and she is not going to stop until I feed her. So I'll be back in just a second. You keep entertaining the stream.
Well, people, now you kind of see what I deal with on a weekly basis with Owen, where it's just nothing but promises and promises from him, and it just never works out, right? Because he's a busy man. Give him some credit, I guess. I mean, it's inexcusable, and I will hate him forever for it, but you know, he's gonna do what he's gonna do, you know, and just try to stick with him, and yeah. Yes, boss, we didn't start the fire, started burning as the world's been turning, and we didn't start the fire. I like that song. I don't know why, but I guess it's alright. Stab. Stab. Oh, failed to stab. Alright.
I'm back!
Oh, welcome back. I was just telling the chat how, you know.
You were singing We Didn't Start the Fire when I put my headphones on.
I was.
I'm feeling a little bad to my cat. So my cat, we feed her from these like pouches, like individual serving meals. She uses a few a day, and we get them online because it's cheap. You can get a bulk carton. It comes with 4 flavors. 3 she likes, and 1 she's a little bit meh on. She'll eat it, but if she gets too much of it, she doesn't like it. So when we get them, we empty them all out. And we put them in a big box and we mix them up. And I can tell that me and my girlfriend must do the same thing. Which is, this is intentionally, like, so that she doesn't end up with just, like, all the beef ones, which she doesn't like, at the end.
Right.
And then goes off of food. But me and my girlfriend must do the same thing, which is go to the box of mixed pouches every time and go, "Aw, I couldn't bear to give you the ones you don't like." Because she always ends up just with a box of beef left anyway. Just loose. Just hilarious. Alright, tell me what you were going to tell me, John.
Well, Blas has a question on the chat real quick. What is that hentai octopus? That is Owen.
It's an ogre.
Like I said, that is Owen. A tentacled ogre. With a penchant for schoolgirls.
I beg your pardon?
Never mind.
So yeah, tell me all about it.
So yeah, I finally watched the movie that I've been talking about that I was going to watch for a while, and so yeah, I did. I watched Blade Runner. And because I didn't, you know, it's weird. Like, you wouldn't think that this is like something you need to specify, but because of how crazy all the various releases of Blade Runner event, you have to specify which one you saw.
Yeah. Final Cut is generally the one most people agree.
And that's the one I watched. I watched Final Cut.
So, before you start telling me about Blade Runner, I'm going to just say one thing and ask you a question.
Sure.
This is considered to be one of the most influential and seminal science fiction movies ever made. But of course, when it came out, it was a little bit of a flop.
Sure.
Partially, that's been attributed to the cut as well, which, if you've ever you haven't seen the theatrical cut, but the theatrical cut basically contains a lot of narration from Harrison Ford sounding incredibly bored, because the studio thought people wouldn't enjoy the movie. But the final cut is like based on it's a variation of the director's cut that became the one everybody said is like the seminal one. So, my question to you is, regardless of how you personally felt watching it, just for the time being, do you think this is a critically important seminal piece of science fiction?
Yeah, I do actually. But not necessarily because it's like super amazing. But it does some stuff that it does a lot of stuff that you would later see in other science fiction movies, in ways that I don't think you've seen in necessarily ones beforehand, right?
Right.
For instance, it has a quality about it that I have said many times is something that I will always appreciate when a movie does this, when it's not afraid to be intelligent.
Yes.
Right?
Doesn't do you any favors.
Right. Oh God, I can't quite get there.
So while you play, I will say one thing about Blade Runner. And it's a slightly incidental. I don't want to get in the way of you, but I know that when the game can be distracting. Before we get into the movie, I will say this about Blade Runner, which I think it's a little bit about the movie, but not quite. This might be my favorite movie soundtrack.
Okay. No, yeah, it's a very good soundtrack.
Very much of its time. One of the two movie soundtracks I would say most famously done by Vangelis. The other being, of course, Chariots.
Oh, whoa! Come on!
What an animation!
No! God!
And kicks off amazingly. Like, that opening shot is beautiful. With the sound.
Yes.
Great. But yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I want to say about the film in general, is that it's a very, very beautiful, beautifully shot film. Very cinematic. It's very, very cinematic.
Oh shit! I didn't mean to do that.
Or beautifully cinematic, I should say. And it does something that you don't quite see in movies much anymore. Oh God damn it! My phone's ringing. 1 second.
While waiting for John to get back to us, I will say I also happen to quite like Blade Runner. I don't know if you can hear me. I don't want to spoil my thoughts too much, but been a while since I saw it though. I first saw Blade Runner. I guess I was fortunate for a lot of people my age. Most people older than me, I think, probably were at greater risk of this, but like I first saw the director's cut of Blade Runner. That was the first one I saw, so I didn't see the theatrical cut till much later on. Blige says it's your turn to speak about John, Owen. John is my friend, and I love him.
Oh, thank you. No, okay, so about Blade Runner is the reason why I think it's seminal is that it does this thing where it's clearly a sci-fi story, very steeped in it. Doesn't try to, you know, give you a ton of background about like terms and terminology or why LA looks the way it does. It doesn't go into all that. It's just like here's the world, and this is the story that's going to play out in it. But what it also does is that it mixes this idea of of a sci-fi story, an intelligent one with action in a way that's very seamless, I think. Because you see a lot of this in especially sci-fi is either you get one or the other. You get the courageous space captain fighting aliens, or you see this long drawn out meditation about life and humanity, like in 2001 Space Odyssey sort of thing, right?
You need to choose the direction?
Oh, sure. You kind of get one or the other. Right. And
very rare you get a merging of two.
This one does both, but it also does something that other seminal works do, especially like Alien, right, where it blends two genres very well. Like Alien is very much a horror film with a sci-fi element to it,
right?
And this is a noir story. It's a detective story in a sci-fi world.
It's very much a Raymond Chandler type detective story too, in which the exact followings of the plot and who did what is actually less important. It's not like a Sherlock Holmes or an Agatha Christie where the details of what's going on and the crime and how they will be resolved is really important. What's important is the world and how characters get from the beginning to the end, not ultimately.
It doesn't quite have the same MacGuffin as it, but it does kind of play out very much like a Maltese Falcon sort of thing. Where
it's very like a Humphrey Bogart movie.
Yeah, once you get to the end of the Maltese Falcon, you realize that what the Maltese Falcon is and who wants it and why they want it doesn't really matter. You get to realize that it's actually more or less the motivations of these characters that actually matter.
Right.
Oh shit, I didn't mean to do that. Fuck. Sure. Will this work? Why not? Oh shit, it actually did work. Huh. Yay for me. But no, so that's why I think it's seminal, is that it doesn't pull any punches. It gives you a fully realized world without a ton of explanation, which I love. It basically clears the room for the intelligence to come through. I keep on wanting to use the word philosophy, but I think that's kind of a crutch word in this situation.
Right.
So, and then just on a technical side note, you can tell that it's aged some, but it still looks really good.
I think it has a little bit of a difficulty in that so many science fiction movies since it have presented the future in exactly the same way.
Yes.
But when you watch Blade Runner, in my mind, that depiction of the future is, to me, so truthful to what the world felt like when I was a kid. Before, the problem is it's a pre-computer revolution movie, right? So there's a lack of computers. They are in there, and they do use them, because they knew computers were going to be, but they didn't realize
they're very analog, It's very dirty.
There's no understanding of how computers and the internet were going to change everything, right? When I watch that movie, though, I see something that is so true to every fear of where society was going, even when I was around in the 90s. You know what I mean? It feels crowded, commercial, dingy, crime. And then there are little things, like, there are things that they... But that... Sorry, I don't want to get into it because I know you're still talking about it. But there are so many visual elements to that city that feel like it's still a nightmare we could walk into. That horrible city.
Right. And the funny thing is that what really sells it on... What I think really sells the fact that this looks like a really miserable place is the fact that it's always dark. You know?
Even during the day.
Yeah. But if you really think about it, we are kind of in that world. We just have the benefit of, like, sunshine to make it not look so damn dreary. But you think about it, there's, you know, advertising everywhere. You know, and it's just as pervasive. You know, it's crowded and everything like that.
Like the ads in Blade Runner, you can tell what they're supposed to convey. Oh my god, huge ads everywhere. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
But, like, I've seen Times Square. Like, I've seen Piccadilly Circus. It looks like that now.
Yeah.
Do you know, I would love to see Coke just do it. Just put a geisha woman on a, you know?
Right. just really tongue-in-cheek. They don't, like, knowing that not a lot of people are going to get it. You know?
Just run that ad. It would be amazing. You know, like when Nike brought out the Back to the Future shoes? Just do it.
you see... yeah, you think that they should bring back the geisha girl?
Yeah. Why not?
Yeah, why not? Yeah, I'll do it.
Oh, I'll tell you what else I like about it in the world building. Nobody ever says it. And this is going back to what you were saying about how it's intelligent and over-explain things. Nobody ever points out explicitly that this is a bilingual city with English and is it Chinese or Japanese? Yeah.
I think it's Chinese.
They never have anybody say, oh, in 2032, the Chinese government, an influx of Chinese immigrants. Do you know what I mean? That conversation never happens.
Exactly.
But it's a crowded, diverse, culturally different city to the US of the present day as well.
Right. Okay, so how do I say this? What I'm trying to I don't want to just go through the plot, like, because we don't have time.
I mean, aside from anything, everybody knows the plot, surely.
Well, yeah. If you don't, the basic premise is Decker, Harrison Ford's character, is tasked with hunting down this group of rogue replicants, androids, essentially, who are essentially trying to extend their life, because they have a hardwired-in lifespan of 4 years. So they're trying to extend their life somehow, and Decker's job is to stop them. And it plays out very much a detective story because he has to go from person to person and try to find where these people are and, like, what they're up to and all this sort of stuff. Basic premise. What I love about it when I say I really appreciate the intelligence is that it about midway through it brings up, oh great, yeah, saw that coming. But it poses a question where basically, like, it never becomes you think that the big question would be who's a replicant and who isn't, right? And that's absolutely not the main question of the story.
Although, depending on who you ask.
Yes, and I did want to bring that up. I am going to mention this. The big question for me, I think, becomes, what's the difference?
Right.
You know, because you realize halfway through it that in order for these things to operate more efficiently, that the company that makes them have been implanting memories. They've been implanting these memories into these things. So, for all intents and purposes, these androids have histories. In their mind, they have, you know, everything that you think makes up what makes you human is, they have it. You know, they feel pain, they take injury, and they have memory. And for all intents and purposes, they have, oh, do I have the ball again?
You do.
Ooh.
You are thrashing me today.
Let's see here. What can I do here? Let's. Can I can't get into the end zone. Maybe I can pull something off here. Oh, fuck. Well, that didn't work out for me. It's... So, essentially, what you get is Deckard is basically chasing down these things that have every sort of trapping of a human that you would think of, rather than other than the fact that they weren't birthed. And he's killing them. His job is to kill them.
Right, because worth mentioning, it's illegal for them to be on Earth, basically. They're allowed to work off-world, but they're effectively banned.
Yes. So it's a really interesting storyline, and I think the big question of, you know, what is the difference is what makes that movie so interesting, right? It's not. I think that the setting is amazing and all that sort of stuff is really cool, but the really interesting part of it is, like, I mean, you can use the setting to influence your decision on this. Like, what's the difference? Like, you look at these replicants, and according to them, all they want to do is live. You know, they want to live longer. You know, and it's like, okay, well, that's a very human thing to want. But then you look at the actual humans and what they've done. They've destroyed their own planet, essentially. They live in a hellscape. So it's like, are they, you know, who's really the good guys? And, like, are these replicants that Deckard is chasing out, are they really evil? You know, they kind of do some stuff to make it. The replicants do some things to kind of help you inform your decision, because they do murder. They have murdered people and things like that. But it's, in my eyes, is really no different than what Deckard's doing. You know.
Right, and that's what the movie wants you to wonder about. Because ultimately, you see characters have different relationships along the way, right? Like, the most interesting of the replicants, of the three main replicants we see, the most interesting is the woman, and I wish I could remember what she was called.
Which one are you talking about? Pris?
Pris, yeah, not Rachel, who is very interesting, but fills a very different role in the story. Pris doesn't seem as on board as Rutger Hauer, right? Do you know what I mean?
Well,
but she is.
No, are we talking about the two? Because Pris is like the one who who gets JF Sebastian. Like, she tricks him into letting them stay with him.
Yes. Daryl Hannah's character.
Daryl Hannah, yeah, the dancer. I can't remember her name. Zora.
She's blatantly a sex robot, right? That's her purpose. Yeah. How she deals with that as her purpose, and how she uses that to further her own goals, and uses that as a path to achieving what she needs to achieve through the only way she's been programmed to behave, is to me fascinating. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because she has her goals, and her goal is to extend her life and to work with her family, basically. They are, at this point, a family, the replicants. But she still has to operate within the confines of how she has been built, you know? And she to me is the replicant that I come back to over and over again as a character I'm so interested in, you know?
Right.
Whereas Rutger Hauer, I think, is a weaker character. Because I think he's kind of one note, really.
He is, and I think, I mean, it's a case where I think the writing really fails him in a weird way, because I think he's really interesting, but not until much later, you know? They don't do a good job.
He isn't served well by being written as a villain.
Right. Like, he's not consistent. Like, his characterization is not consistent.
No.
And it really isn't until the end where you kind of like, oh shit, no, he's actually kind of cool, but there's no lead up to it. There's no hinting that he has a deeper level to him until at the very end, and it almost feels kind of wedged in a weird way. And
the other character I never know how to think about is Tyrell.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen this film several times. I never really know how to pin him down. Like, I think Tyrell's so interesting because when you go to God, what's the company called?
Tyrell.
I think it is called Tyrell, isn't it? When you go to those offices, that's the only time in the movie you see wealth, right? And space and freedom. And so he's incredibly privileged, right?
Yeah.
But he doesn't seem to be hateful, or do you know what I mean? Like, he's
not overtly bad.
Right. But he doesn't seem to be either A, particularly concerned with the poor people who have to live in the shitty place outside the Tyrell offices.
Right.
And he's also not, he's interested in the replicants and their plight, if you know what I mean. But he's not also massively concerned. Do you know what I mean? He's not...
Well, like, he comes off as like, okay, he cares in the sense that as like, to me he comes off as being very concerned.
I picked the wrong dice.
Yeah. Well, it still works out. He comes off as being very concerned as like a sculptor would be over a piece. You know, he does not see them as human or living or anything that should be concerned other than a creation, you know? And his creation, specifically.
Right.
Now, okay. So we can get back into other things that are interesting for sure, but I did want to bring up this big thing, right?
Whoa!
This is this is kind of a big thing in the world of how do I want to say this? Of Blade Runner and the fandoms and the Blade Runner fandom, you know? It's this big question that I think is kind of very distracting to what makes Blade Runner good. But
Right.
I feel it's fair enough we should address it. There's a very big debate about is Decker a replicant or not?
Right. So can I ask, if you had not heard about the debate before you watched the movie, because I'm sure you did, would you have
Sure.
would you have even raised that as an issue?
I would have, actually,
Okay.
because there's certain things. Oh shit! Did I fuck this up? I did. Come on, get there. Nice. Okay. I would have, because I think it's a very interesting. I think it's a very interesting thing to think about, especially when you bring like Rachel into it, right?
Right.
Because that, okay, I will say that's another part of the film that I think is kind of not great. Is this sudden love story between the two? Because there's not a lot. There's not a lot to go on. They do not build that relationship up well.
No.
It just sort of happens.
Well, my personal theory on that has always been that that's kind of what she's designed to do.
Right.
But there's nothing in the movie. You have to speculate to some extent.
Yeah.
But her sudden appearance at his apartment, right? I'm not remembering. It's been a while since I saw it.
No, yeah, she shows up.
It is convenient, but also advantageous to Tyrell, right?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's always been my sort of take on that. That it's effectively, when you're talking about, because Rachel's job, he meets her first at Tyrell, right? And
runs the void comp test on her.
Right. And she seems custom designed to be a red herring, if you know what I mean. To be a bait for Deckard. But then that does raise the question of what Tyrell's ultimate agenda is, you know? There's a lot to go. It's difficult only half remembering stuff, though. Oh god, it's my turn. I'm sorry, I didn't realize.
Yeah, and so my thought behind it is, I had this worked out yesterday. I had a pretty good idea of how I was going to say this, but it's kind of left me. What I think whether or not Decker is a replicant or not actually depends solely on what you think the main point of the film is, right? If you think that the main point of the film is, it's not, him killing these replicants is bad, and they just want to live, and they just want to live their life, and all that sort of stuff, then son of a bitch. Then yes, I think he is a replicant, right? Because then the poignant thing is he is killing his own kind, I guess. And he himself is just following his programming to do it. If you fall under my feeling of the most important thing is what's the difference, then he isn't a replicant. Because at the end, he recognizes that there's no difference, and he's going to help this woman he now loves regardless. Right? That's just kind of my feeling on it. I don't know if it's right or not.
So I will say this. I'd seen Blade Runner quite a few times before I even heard the theory that Deckard was a replicant. And it's always been my opinion that...
Booyah!
That there is only one actual thing in the context of the film itself that actually raises it as an issue, right?
Is it the unicorn?
It's the unicorn, right?
Yeah.
That unicorn, by the way, is not in every cut of the movie.
That's what I heard.
The origami unicorns are. The dream unicorn isn't. Which also raises the question of Deckard could or could not be a replicant depending on which version of the film you're watching as well.
Right.
So what I'd be interested is, in your mind, what is it in the film that signals the possibility that he's a replicant? Because the thing about the unicorns is, for me, I find this kind of flimsy. The thing about the unicorns is, the guy keeps making the unicorns, right?
Right.
And Deckard dreams of a unicorn? How could the guy know what was in Deckard's head unless he's a robot? That's the theory. That's the pitch, right?
Sure.
But if he was a replicant and he'd had that implanted in his head, how would Edward James almost know anyway? Do you know what I mean? Like,
right.
What was he? And if that's the case, and replicants are banned, why are the police service working for him? How did he get that? Do you know what I mean? It doesn't go into any of that. It's just this one thing. And that one thing, while it might give you the effect of, maybe, isn't actually part of the text of the film, really. Do you know what I mean?
I guess for me,
there's no narrative to it.
I guess the way I see it, and this was really amazing about the film, is that there's nothing about it that spells this out, right?
No.
This all has to be speculation.
Sure.
Right?
And I acknowledge that right at the start, too.
My thought behind it is, I guess my initial thought is, I think that there's a better case to be made that Edward James Olmos is a replicant.
Fair enough. In the movie or in real life?
What the fuck was his name in the film? What's the difference? We're all gonna die anyways. Something like that. Anyways,
that was
his character.
Name?
It's something. It's a C name, like Chegg or something like that.
I'm gonna look it up. It's your turn, by the way.
Oh, sure.
Switching this to 4 minutes was a really good call. Plus, he's got the weird eyes.
Yeah.
He's called Eduardo Gaff.
Gaff, there we go. So my thought is that it makes more sense for him to be a replicant, and the way I kind of explain the unicorn thing, I think it's a case of him recognizing that that Deckard is different than most humans, right? Because you see this, like, other than Deckard and I guess you could say J.F. Sebastian, Deckard is really the only one who shows any sort of sympathy or gives any sort of thought to what he's doing.
Well, this is a much larger part of the book. This concept of developing sympathy. You ever read the book? I don't know.
I have not. I heard it's kind of eh.
It has one really interesting concept that is barely picked up in the movie, and I wish it had been more in the movie. Is there like a weird
religion aspect to it?
There is, kind of, but the bit that I like is, you know that bit where there's the dancer with the snake? And he asks her if it's a real snake, and she's like, do you think I could afford a real snake? You know? And obviously, the animals are dying out. There's this concept in the movie, because he has a wife in the book.
Oh,
yeah. And
I've heard this.
She's depressed, hooked up to this emotion machine all the time. And she's trying to... Basically, because they live in this hellhole society where there's nothing to live for. And there's this interesting bit of backstory where basically if you are well off enough to have space and stuff like that, it's considered to be like a good, like your civic duty, really. It's not obligatory, but it's just considered to be something you should try and do. That you should try and look after an animal, right? Because there's just nowhere for them to live. So he gets this sheep, and she just does not want to look after this sheep.
Right.
And then, like, the culmination of the book is she basically finds it in her heart to adopt a frog.
Okay.
And that element is, like, it wouldn't work in this movie, necessarily, but a big theme in the book is Deckard learning to have empathy in a society that has squeezed empathy out, you know?
Right.
But they are very different products.
Yeah. Anyway, the end of my theory of all that is I think that Gaff recognizes that Deckard is different and one of a kind, you know, a unicorn, right? And I think it's him, you know, making these origami things whenever Deckard is around. And I think that Deckard's dream is kind of a byproduct, like a subconscious byproduct of that.
Okay.
You know, it's kind of like, you know, when you're out and about in your real life and you're at work or something, and you know you're at work 8 hours a day and whatnot, and inevitably you dream of work, right? Because it's just something that exists in your real life. And I think it's very similar. I think it's a very similar situation where I think Deckard dreaming of the unicorn is a subconscious response to Gaff having the unicorns, you know?
So I know that Ridley Scott does not believe that Deckard is a replicant.
Yeah, but Harrison Ford does.
But Harrison Ford does. And that's not really something that's raised in the book either, I think. So So hand on heart, one solid answer, yes or no, what do you think?
It's good. I think it's actually really good.
No, I mean, do you think Deckard is a replicant? Let's do it.
I don't. I think it's human.
Me too. I don't think... I know this sounds kind of dumb because people like their theories and stuff. Maybe it doesn't sound dumb. I don't think Deckard being a replicant is what this movie is about, nor do I think it's improved by the presence of the theory.
No.
Is my personal opinion. I don't think it fits in this film.
Because, I mean, honestly, I think him being a replicant actually ruins a lot of... I don't want to say ruins, but I think it... fuck. I think it diminishes something because like I said, I think the really interesting point is you have all these humans who are running around and they act like assholes, and they're I guess oh shit, I don't want to say that they're assholes, but they're very cold to the replicants and stuff like that. And you have a broken detective who is the one who like just decides, like, the same one who's been killing these replicants, and he's very good at it. Him being the one to go, no, I'm going to treat them like a human, because they are alive. They have memories, they have feelings, they feel injury and pain, and so I think that's more poignant of someone who at one point, I mean, okay, this is going to be a really horrific example, analogy. To me, it's as poignant as if like an ex-Nazi falls in love and marries a Jew. Jewish person, you know?
Right.
That's how I kind of feel about it. It tells that kind of story. But even more so, it would tell that story if the Nazis had won, you know? You know what I mean? Like, that's how poignant the fact that Deckard is willing to care for a replicant and help them escape is, because it would be that same situation if Nazi Germany had won the war and the world was completely controlled by Nazis. Having one fall in love with a Jewish person would be very, very poignant,
yeah.
So that's my stance on it. And there's just not enough. Like, I guess for me, I have the benefit of having that stance, because I don't need to I don't bear the burden of proof.
Right.
And I think people who do think he is a replicant, they have a much harder time of making a case, because you have to show me clear-cut evidence that he is a replicant, right? Because that's the far-fetched side of it.
I think the people who
being
want
a human isn't far-fetched,
I think the people who want him to be a replicant want Blade Runner to be a different kind of science fiction movie.
Yes.
There is, however, a line that is in the director's cut and is not in the final cut, where Gaff explicitly says to Deckard, "Are you sure you are a man?" It's only in the 1982 version and the ones that are closest to that. It's not in the final cut, and it's not in the theatrical. But he specifically says to him, "Are you sure you are a man?" Which I would suggest is the only version of the film to explicitly raise the issue, rather than just maybe hint at it. But that's the kind of thing. That's the kind of thing you would say as well.
But I would also suggest that he's not necessarily saying, "Are you a man?" Or if not, you're a robot. To me, I read that as like the kind of like questioning, masculinity sort of thing,
right.
or questioning just humanity. It's not a case of like, oh, I don't think you are a human. I think you are a robot. I think it's a case of, since you're doing this stuff, are you really a man? Like, would a good human with humanity do these sort of things? I guess but that's just me.
Well, I'd be interested to know how Blade Runner 2049 holds this, because
and I want to watch that next.
They explicitly state in Blade Runner that even the best replicants, even the most special, latest models, top out at 4 years.
Oh yeah, 4 years. Yeah.
And Harrison Ford's still ticking.
But yeah, I mean, remember, like, Ridley Scott's position is that Deckard is not a replicant, and he's the one who directing this film. I don't know if he wrote it.
I don't think he did. No.
No.
From what I understand,
he didn't direct it either. He didn't direct it either. Shit. It's what's that guy's name? He did. Is it the same guy who did The Arrival?
Are you sure it's not Ridley Scott?
I'm really sure it's not. I think he produced
it's Ridley
or
Scott.
had some sort of.
I just googled it. It's
it?
Ridley Scott. Yeah.
I thought it was someone else. Oh, look at you!
Yay! Finally got one. I'll take it. My cats go back to sleep on me, which is nice.
Aw. But
so you liked it?
I did. I really did. I mean, I'm not going to go on and say, like, it's my favorite film of all time and all sort of stuff, but I think I'm willing to say that it deserves the cult following and all the love that it receives. It's not a perfect film.
It's actually very difficult to find these days, but if you can find a copy of the theatrical version, it's interesting to see how different it could be.
It's funny because it's really kind of funny that it's taken me this long to watch it. Because I've owned a version of Blade Runner for a very long time. I'm looking at it over on my, but it's the Redux version.
Oh, I don't know which one that one is.
I think that's what it's called. Let me look at it. Getting up, going to my TV rack.
Okay, it says mostly AFK, cooking dinner. It was implied he could be a replicant, in my opinion. And are they really so different as they could imprint memories? The process could effectively clone a person, something used by elite to live forever. That's true. That's a good point. I mean, I don't know. Every time I've watched it, I never picked up on that till other people pointed it out, I suppose. It's not something I see in the film, but
No, okay. I have the director's cut.
To be fair, the difference between the director's cut and the final cut is not that big.
I didn't think it would be. Oh my god. What the hell happened to me while I was looking?
It was an event, I believe.
Oh. Fair enough.
There was a really nice set of Blade Runner.
Have a good one, Blas.
See you later, Blas. Thanks for watching, man. There was a really nice set of Blade Runner that I really wanted for a long time. It was a 5-disc Blu-ray set that came in like the metal case, you know. And it had
all the cuts.
every version of the movie, and I was so close to getting it. I was like, oh, I want that because it had a ton of extras and special little trinkets too. And then I was like, you know what? There isn't enough time in my life to watch every version of Blade Runner.
Right.
I don't even know if I own my Final Cut Blu-ray anymore. I feel like I got rid of it. Because the thing about Blade Runner is, I like it, but I don't think it's a watch over and over movie.
No, it's definitely not. Can you get to this ball and score in one turn?
I'm gonna try.
I'm going for it. No. Okay, well, Org, since you're in the chat, and anyone else who is still in the chat, even if you're just listening in the background, let us know. Just yay or nay, yes or no. That's all I want to see. I just want to see a yes or a no in the chat. Is Decker a replicant? All right. I'll even give you an example. All right.
I can literally, I'm going to end my turn.
Yeah.
You beat me. Well done, buddy.
Hey. So I figured, yeah, we'll probably start wrapping up here. But, no, I liked it, and I do agree with you. This is not a movie that I'm going to watch again anytime soon. I mean, I guess probably the next time I watch it, I actually sit down and watch it, it's going to be, if someone else wants to watch it, I'm there, you know? Okay, Sinister Minister, he's in with a no. So I got a no, Sinister Minister has a no, and I think Owen is a no. So the only holdout is Org. Where you at, Org? I want your position on this. Is it going to be a unanimous decision? Is it going to be a hard no that Deckard is most certainly not a replicant? But I would suggest though, everyone, if
oh nuts,
if you're hankering for it, you can actually sit down and rewatch Blade Runner as just a detective story, and I think it works just as well.
I'm very upset with myself.
What did you do?
Oh, I was reading something. I was reading about the replicants in the movie to try and remind me who they were. It's been a while, and I ended up getting
and you spoiled
spoilers
20.
Yeah.
All right. Well, don't tell me because I want to.
No, I won't. I'm just annoyed. I used to have a book. There was a sequel to Blade Runner.
I really didn't think Ridley Scott had. Damn it! Why? Who am I thinking of? Who wrote 58 or whatever it is?
Oh no, sorry, no. I was talking about the original Blade Runner, Ridley Scott. 2049 is directed by someone else. Is that the disagreement we were having? No, I was talking about the first one. No, that's fine. Yeah. Misunderstanding there.
Who did
oh god, it was the guy who did Sicario.
Is it?
I'm looking up.
Interesting, because
Denis Villeneuve.
Yeah, I heard Sicario's really good too. I've been kind of to see that.
Yeah, I've heard good things about Sicario. Arrival. Arrival, Sicario, Enemy, Prisoners. He likes his
single.
Likes his one-word
titles.
Abstract concepts. His next movie is called Shame. Abacus. I'm kidding.
Oh, he's Canadian. He's from Trois-Rivières, Quebec, Canada.
It's really worth, if you can find it, it's probably on YouTube somewhere, it's really worth finding out the original ending that they stitched on to the end of Blade Runner. Because the studio didn't like it, right? And didn't think it was going to be good, so they ordered some changes. And the changes they ordered were basically, you know how you said the movie treats you like you're intelligent? They added voiceover of Harrison Ford, basically clarifying points and saying stuff. And also, like, he clearly didn't want to do it, so he's in his most, like, pissed off Harrison Ford bored guy voice. But the ending is really terrible. It's Deckard and Rachel, like, driving off into the sunset. And the narration says something like, Terrell said they were limited to 4 years, but Rachel was a special one, and we don't know how long we've got, but who does? And the footage is like B-roll from, I think, The Shining, and they're just driving through like the countryside, and you're like, where was this in the movie? There's no, like, it doesn't look like anything you see in the entire film.
Right.
It's so bad. Oh, I found it. I'm gonna send you the original ending to Blade Runner.
Okay,
I'm gonna send it to you on Facebook, alright?
Now I haven't heard the narration, but there is a part of me that think like the narration would add, depending on what it was, like a narration could add to the noir thing feel to it.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah.
Oh, do you know the thing where your web browser just decides clicking on stuff just not today?
Yeah, pretty much.
Damn you, Facebook. Trying to send you this enlightening, entertaining video of the original Blade Runner ending. Don't you hum sarcastically at me.
There we go.
Okay.
I like this. Blade Runner 1982. Happy ending.
Tempted to rewatch it myself. Oh yeah, here we go. It's so bad.
I like the porn sax. That's
always good. If you keep it loud like that, people will probably actually be able to hear it on the stream.
That's what I'm trying.
It's good.
Gaff had been there and let her live. 4 years, he figured. He was wrong. Tyrell had told me Rachel was special. No termination date. I didn't know how long we'd have together. Who does?
Jeez. Where did they get a convertible?
Where did they get trees?
Jeez. And then they end with this like crazy, like intense, like
Yep.
not like happy music. Jeez. All right.
If I remember rightly in the book, oh yeah, here we go. I'm reading information so I can tell you from other sources, but
Sure.
yes, apparently in the book, Deckard successfully passes a Voight Kampf.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say that is there is a line in the final cut that does lend to the Deckard is a replicant thing a little bit, but Rachel makes a really it's very nonchalant, but she's kind of asked like, well, have you ever taken one of those tests? And he doesn't answer. He never answers.
Right.
Now, okay, I did want to bring this up real quick about the final edit, all right, or the final cut. I'm really curious how much work was put into it, because, like, clearly it's supposed to be, okay, this is the best one, this is as close to what really Scott wanted as much, but they kind of left some things in that seem real sloppy.
Oh yeah?
There's a few times where they repeat information, and not like I'm reiterating what happened sort of thing, as in, we filmed this one scene of him telling Deckard this, and then we filmed another scene of him telling this stuff, and we were only going to use one, but in the final cut we used both. The one that really sticks out is when he's first brought in by Bryant, his boss or whatever. And Brian tells him, like, oh yeah, a group of 6 replicants hijacked off-road transport, killed the crew, and now they're skin jobs on planet.
Although you only see 5 in the movie.
Well, he also mentions, well, you see 4.
Yes.
You see, but
and then he says 1
that
got fried.
2. In final.
No, he only
final
says
cut,
1.
He says 2. He
says
says 2.
Are you sure?
I guarantee he says 2. He says 2 got fried in the electrical field.
Pretty sure it's 1.
He says 2. Anyways, they have this scene where he tells him this, and then he has another scene where Gaff is in the room, and he says it again. But not like, oh, hey, remember, these guys killed people and blah, blah, blah. It's, all right, so here's the situation. 6 replicants hijack an off-road transport, killed the crew, and now they're on Earth. He says it again exactly the same way as he did in the previous scene. Like, it's right after each other. And it's like, why are you saying this again? Just, what was the other one? There was another one that really stood out to me. I think it's the scene where he's chasing down Zora. They actually reuse a shot.
So you think these might be as a result of the cut specifically?
I'm either that or because of like all the confusion of all the different versions and stuff like that, they just kind of start piecing them together really quickly. Because didn't they come out with the final cut as part of an anniversary?
I know it went back to the theaters.
Mm-hmm.
So the problem with it is, the problem is the director's cut was one of those fake director's cuts, and I think Ridley Scott had actually objected because he didn't approve it.
Yeah, the rules like this fine text is director of photography cut.
Well, the 90s were a big time for director's cut re-releases. There was they tried to there was a period where it felt almost like the studios were meddling on purpose so we could get a director's cut down the line. Like, do you remember when movies would come out, they were like, all new director's cut, and you'd look, it would be like 3 minutes difference, and not very important ones. It really bothers me, actually, because there's the one everybody says is like the must-watch director's cut, Aliens, and I think the theatrical one's better.
Right.
Because, yes, the director's cut of Aliens adds lots of stuff about Ripley's daughter and stuff that fleshes that character out. It really, really does. It's great, right? The director's cut ruins the plot. There's this whole... The director's cut basically reveals what happened to the colonists before they get there. And I know, know the colonists have been got by aliens, but it's quite important to that movie that you don't really see that, you know? Mm-hmm. That you don't find out they've found aliens and things like that.
I would love to see... No, I would love to see... Because, I've said this a million times. I'm not a huge fan of the Alien universe, right? I like Alien. I like that movie a lot. Aliens is fine. Although I don't really like it. I don't like Aliens nearly as much as I like Alien.
I will never understand why people think it's such a perfect sequel. I think it's okay.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I like it for what it is. I don't think it's a better film than Alien.
Right. I mean, the only really good sequel to Alien is Resurrection. No, I would actually like to see. I mean, even though he disavowed his contribution to the film, I would love to see David Fincher get a chance to make his cut of Alien 3, if that footage still existed.
Right. Well, there is that other cut of Alien 3 that he has basically... He won't let them call it a director's cut because he wasn't involved. But it is apparently much closer to his work print version.
Right.
But
I would love if they could give him enough money to be like, make another Alien movie, and we will not interfere this time. You know? Right,
because can you imagine how good an untouched... Like, we know today how good David Fincher is.
Yeah.
They didn't know then enough to not touch a David Fincher film.
I'm curious, what has David Fincher done recently? Because the only one I can really think of, like, off the top of my head, of course, is Seven.
Social Network. He did that.
Oh, yeah. He did Social Network. That was
Girl
good.
with a Dragon Tattoo? Was that him?
Maybe.
You know, I never saw it, but he did Benjamin Button as well.
Did he?
Yeah.
Let's see. I kind of appreciate that. He did Gone Girl, which I heard is very, very good. I haven't seen it.
He was something to do with House of Cards as well.
Let's see here. All filmography as director. He's only directed 13 films. Huh. Let's see here. Okay, I clicked on producer. My bad. He's directed 83 films.
Okay, so in the chat says, I thought movies like Lord of the Rings were too long and the director's cut just made them longer. They really ruined The Hobbit with filler, in my opinion. See, I like the Hobbit movies, but I'm not a huge fan of the Lord of the Rings movies. I like the Hobbit movies because I can just go in and be like, okay, they are just filler action movies. But the Lord of the Rings movies, they're very serious films that are way too long. So I find them very dull.
Have we looked up David Fincher's credits before.
I don't think so. Why?
Because it's really interesting is that apparently I didn't know this, but he must have started out as a music video director.
I've heard that.
Because, yeah, like, his first, like, 30 credits are all music videos. You know? He did Billy Idol, Cradle of Love, and Madonna Vogue. Janie's Got a Gun by Aerosmith.
Have you seen that video? That's not a great testament to David Fincher's career.
Yeah, wow. Alien 3 is his first theatrical film.
Can you imagine that? Like, you can see why the studio thought they knew better, right?
Right.
From what I hear, it basically put him off working with big movies ever again. Like, he pretty much went low budget after that. Not low budget, but it took him out of blockbusters for a long time.
Yeah, because he went off and he went right back to music videos for a while.
I'm gonna upset some people. I think Alien 3 is better than Aliens.
So do I.
I think the setting is far more interesting than the setting in Aliens. I think the way you see Alien 3 is the only time we ever see the aliens attacking large groups of people who have their own agendas in competing ways, right? Like, Alien's just a simple... Like, Alien is the best, without a doubt. But it's a very simple, controlled environment. The alien picks off people one at a time. Yeah, and you get, like, what, 5-6 people? Right, we know what's going on. Aliens is an action movie, fair enough, and it's just kind of chaotic. And there's good stuff in Aliens. I think putting a queen in was a good idea. I think the aliens are pretty good in it. You know, it's not a bad movie by any stretch, but it is, you know, it is what it is. Right. Alien 3, I think, for all its flaws, is the most interesting. It's the one where you come away with the most stuff to think about, you know?
Right. And it has the most... Here I go again using this term. I really need to stop. But it's the one that has a clear sense of a universe philosophy. It's very nihilistic. You know, because what you get is this because it's like a prison world, right?
Yes.
Like a foundry that's run by prisoners. It's I don't know the exact. But even like the decision to kill off Hicks and Newt lends to this idea of like, well, what's the point? Like, what's the point of fighting? You know, what's the point of going on? And it's the same way with these prisoners, right? They could put up a fight and, you know, try to fight against this alien, and, you know, maybe they kill it and maybe they survive. But what do they have afterwards? They're still in prison forever for all intents and purposes. You know?
So the assembly cut was put together in 2003, and it's the David Fincher was the only director who did not participate in an alternate cut, because every Alien movie has an alternate cut, and the Alien one's pretty bad too. Apparently it has 37 minutes of new and alternate footage, so 37 minutes of that movie are either new or different to the original version.
That is substantial, you know, if you think about it. Yeah, I don't know. I think Alien 3 deserves more credit than it gets. It's not a perfect film, and there's definitely some damn flaws in it. And, but I do believe that the fact that the movie starts off with Hicks and Newt dying, put a sour note on all the people who are watching it, and they weren't able to appreciate it for what it has. I think, you know, it's...
And I like that they died. Because
I'm trying to think of... There's other movies that have done that, you know, where it just starts off with, oh yeah, you know, all these people you like, done. Hello, Christian Skywalker. You're a little late. We're about to wrap up, but thank you for stopping in. What are your thoughts on Blade Runner? and Alien. um,
Yeah. And Alien Resurrection is shit.
Yeah, Alien Resurrection is really, really bad. And I never even bothered to watch Prometheus or Alien Homecoming or whatever the fuck it was called.
Covenant.
There we go.
I've seen them both. Prometheus is an interesting film. It's got a lot of stuff that's very, very strange about it. Like, in theory, it's a prequel to Alien. Doesn't really feel like it. It doesn't have that grimy world look to it. All the ships are pretty clean, right? But it clearly is Ridley Scott returning to the Alien universe. But you know when old...
Do you think... I just from looking at the promotional stuff from it, and this is okay. So once again, this is a very uninformed opinion. I will admit, this is just me watching promotional stuff for it. Because there was like teasers and stuff before, like the nerd media got their hands on it, and it was all, oh, is Ridley Scott returning to the aliens? Is this a fabled prequel that we all been wanting? And I really get the sense that Prometheus was not going to be a part of Aliens.
So the way the story goes is, I happen to know how this happens, because it was interesting. Ridley Scott went to Fox and said, I want to make another Alien movie, because he was pissed off that he didn't get to make Alien 2, basically. He was very unhappy about that. He said, I want to make another Alien movie. And they said, oh, Alien, this kind of... so we don't really think there's potential in that right now. Because bear in mind, the last Alien vs. Predator film had been kind of shitty, and...
Ooh, yeah.
And
that's a really dumb outlook, because there was so much other media out there that's been carrying the Alien name very well.
Sure.
Like
and
comics and books and video games.
Absolutely. But that was the approach they took. And they basically said to them, you can do it. If you want to make a movie in the Alien universe, you can do it. Because they'd have been stupid to say no.
No,
Because Ridley Scott returning to Alien is great. But they said, but...
Yeah, it's promotion in itself. Yeah.
Right. But they said, but it's not going to be an Alien movie. Just don't make it an Alien movie. You don't put an alien in it. Just do something else. Make it a spin-off, right? So he went in wanting to make an Alien movie, and they basically didn't want him to do that. So he made it, and... I mean, I can tell you about Prometheus if you don't mind spoilers. I don't know.
Oh, I know the spoilers, yeah.
So the plot of Prometheus is that... Oh, I mean, it's so dumb.
Christian Skywalker says, if he's still in the chat, says, never seen any of them. That's a shame. I don't know if you're talking about Blade Runner or the Aliens and Spirit or all of them. We should give them a shot. They're very interesting films in the nerd and science fiction lexicon, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
So
anyways, go on.
So it's very much a, you know, when artists get older and they start making films that are less about popular appeal and more about thoughts they've thought about while they don't really have to work anymore. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
They get old, they get a lot of time on their hands, and they start getting these lofty ideas, and they're not keeping up with art anymore as much because they don't have time. And so what you get is these, what if the alien was actually part of us? Do you know what I mean? So it's like that. It's a very ponderous philosophical movie, but it is also kind of an action horror. So, but it's very like Alien. It feels like an Alien ripoff the whole time you watch it, you know? And then I watched Alien Covenant, which is the other way. Ridley Scott went to Fox and said, I want to make a sequel to Prometheus, but Prometheus had done kind of badly, like, with reputation, so they were like, could you just make us an Alien movie? And it's overtly a sequel to Prometheus. It's not like Alien at all. It's Prometheus 2. I mean, it is overtly Prometheus 2, Alien Covenant. And... except they put an alien in it at the end.
Okay,
the alien's not even in it that long. The alien is in Prometheus 2 for a really short period of time.
So my question is now, and I don't know how I do know how we got from Blade Runner to this. do you think there will, now with the acquisition of Fox by Disney and stuff, do you think we will get another Alien movie?
Well, that's interesting, isn't it? Because
either done by Ridley Scott or not.
I think Ridley Scott has managed to prove that he can make movies in the Alien universe that people will say, well, that wasn't great, but I went to see it anyway, or other people will say, no, actually, if you look at it from this perspective, it's actually kind of cool. And that's all they need, you know? I think he ended on a setup for one. I think he might get one. We just need to MCU it, don't we? Like, the Alien needs to join the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
just at the end of Avengers 4, like, Thanos has defeated all the heroes, turns around, like a facehugger just grabs onto him, like...
No, a chest bursts out of Captain America. Just...
Yeah. But you don't get to see why. He's like, there's like one random scene where he's like, hold on, I think I have an idea how we can win. And he like leaves for like half hour of the film, and just comes back with a stomach ache.
You mean much like Thor in Age of Ultron?
Yeah, he just comes back and it's like, oh, did you have a weirdly religious experience in a pool? Not exactly.
Funny.
Christian Skywalker says, Blade Runner doesn't look interesting to me, but I might watch the Alien series. Fair enough. What I will say about Blade Runner, because you probably missed the whole conversation, but I had just seen it recently, and I didn't really know what to think about it coming in. Well, I did, because I've heard people talk about Blade Runner forever. But it was actually a very good film, Christian. And if you're at all interested in ethics of humanity and creation, or if you're just kind of into noir, like detective stories, I think there's something there for you to watch. Maybe give it a shot if you ever get around to it. Let's see here. Or Chaos says, when I look at Batman, I do say that sometimes series need a reboot. Continuing a bad line of movies might not end well, but it's risky. I think possibly needs a reboot done well. I'm guessing Aliens. Aliens needs a reboot done well. There's so many bad Alien movies. Yeah. That's an interesting thought. What would you say to an Alien reboot?
I would say there's a fundamental problem with rebooting Aliens if you want to go back and start with a movie like Alien. Because the big issue with Aliens is that the alien gets further and further away from his horror roots every time.
Right.
So right now he's weird human evolution metaphor.
Right.
He's also been like action movie monster, like all kinds of things. And animal in Alien 3, I would say, and in Alien Resurrection, symbol of military failure, all these different kinds of things.
Right. Yeah.
In Alien, he's pure. I say it's pure horror. Do you know what I mean? It's pure terror. The Alien, and they've moved away from that.
But it's also you run the risk of this was a different time for horror films.
Right. You wouldn't get a movie like that today.
Right, you would get very much a full of jump scares and, in my opinion, very cheap scares, things like that.
Yeah, and so if you were rebooting it, you'd have to reboot it. The problem is, any rebooting of Aliens would be done with knowledge of where the franchise was going, and they'd go for a shared universe with Predator, I think. You wouldn't get a serious... People forget how serious a movie Alien is, the first Alien.
Yeah.
I mean, it's such a great film. I think it's probably the best horror movie ever made.
So, okay, this is kind of my thought about it, too, where, in a weird way, I think technology has really... I won't say ruined, but has been a detriment to the Alien franchise, which is weird since it's kind of a sci-fi thing. What makes the first Alien so scary is that you never really get a chance to see the alien that much. Right. There's like a scene at the end where you get to see it. But all the really terrifying parts of that movie is the Jaws thing, right? Where you don't get to see the monster all that much. You get glimpses of it.
But by giving the alien phases, they have introduced... they have introduced it before it becomes a scary monster. So you've still got something to see prior to that.
Huh.
What?
Oh, okay, I know what he's talking about. Okay, Christian Skywalker says, I have seen the movie Life, which I think is a reboot of Alien.
It's not.
It's
just very similar.
But I do know where you're coming from. There's actually some really interesting theories about that it's actually a really odd way to introduce the symbiote into the MCU, which is really dumb. But it's kind of funny.
I heard that Tom Holland, that's his name, isn't it? He's going to be in this Sony Venom movie.
Yeah, I heard he might have a cameo or something.
So does that mean the Sony Venom movie is going to be an MCU movie, technically?
I don't know anymore. I don't know. It's all a mess. Org Chaos says, just don't pull a Ghostbusters reboot and try to split the original movie into 3 parts. I don't really know what that means.
That reboot's pretty much the whole movie, the whole original movie, beat by beat. It's a very, very old-fashioned remake, actually.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what that... I mean, were the intentions to make a trilogy out of that?
Maybe. It didn't do well enough, did it?
I really don't know. Yeah. Well, we can do a bunch of sexist assholes control the narrative of that story. I mean, I've heard that it wasn't great on its own merit, but when you add the additional nonsense that happened outside of that film to it, yeah, they're never going to make another one.
It's okay. I mean, the thing is, it's one of those things where, like, they don't make comedies like Ghostbusters anymore.
Right.
Okay, it says, yes, that goal was to stretch the original movie premise, and they pulled a Chuck taking it too slow. But I've seen that movie, and it's not like that at all. It pretty much... It pretty much goes through the... Oh, I suppose they do introduce Zool at the end, but it's not really like that. It goes... It has an introduction of the Ghostbusters. They get the team together. They get the equipment. And then big ghosts attack the city, and they fend them off after doing a few jobs. Like, beat by beat, it hits without specifically getting to, like, Zool and Gozer and stuff, it still beat by beat goes through the same story beats and then comes to an end around the same point of the original Ghostbusters. It's very, very close in structure, actually. Very different in tone.
I should really actually just sit down. It's been so long since I've seen the Ghostbuster movies. I don't remember a ton about them.
I will never understand why people don't like Ghostbusters 2. I think Ghostbusters 2 is fine.
I think I've seen Ghostbusters 2 more than I've seen the first Ghostbusters. Just by, they always showed Ghostbusters 2 on fucking daytime television and movie channels. I never saw a problem with that movie, honestly. Like, I thought it was actually kind of fun.
Yeah, I like that
whole
one.
bit. I mean, like, they do retread some things, with a giant thing walking through New York at the end,
Yes.
With the Statue of Liberty. But I think that's a kind of a fun thing. And I guess maybe that's what people don't like about it, is that there's some really hokiness in Ghostbusters 2, and doesn't really have the same sarcastic feel. Yeah.
It's too similar to the first in places, too. Hog says, I could have done without the 10 minutes of complaining about the quality of delivery food, too. Yes. Well, the biggest issue with the Ghostbusters remake, the biggest problem with it overall, is it's one of those comedies that, it's not a terrible movie, but it's mediocre, I think. The biggest weakness with it is it's one of those movies made without a script, where they just have comedians improvise and then try and cut that into a... Do you know what I mean?
Right.
So there's a...
when is it all of the Ghostbusters or all SNL alumni?
I believe so.
So there's Kate McKinnon and then Leslie Jones and
Melissa McCarthy.
Melissa McCarthy and
Kristen Wiig.
No, Melissa McCarthy wasn't a SNL. She appeared on SNL, but she wasn't actually ever a regular castmate.
So there you go. Melissa McCarthy is the one that isn't, but she's from that world. She's from that circle.
She's the Winston of the original one because he was the only one who wasn't an SNL castmate too. No, I guess not. Because what's his name wasn't either. Egon.
Harold Ramis.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting. There are some there are some improvised jokes in it that are good, but the big issue with it is that it's not a very structured comedy. It's people being silly. It doesn't have that thread of realism that comedies don't anymore. Do you know what I mean? They don't make comedies like that these days to be to have a thread of realism, but to still be comedic in scripting. It definitely comes off as if you are watching a performance, and I just don't care for that tone as much. But it's not a terrible film.
Well, that's what I got for this week.
Pretty much. Yeah, let's see us out, John. I want to go to bed.
Yeah. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for participating in the chat. This has been Those Aren't Biscuits. I've been one of your co-hosts, Jonathan Cadotte. With me, as always, has been Owen Adams. Where can they find you, man?
Oh, by going to my YouTube channel at youtube.com/Owen Adams. And where can they find you?
Awesome. They can find me on my personal blog, which is johncperson.wordpress.com, or you can follow me on Twitter, which is at johncperson, and you should follow me on Twitter because I'm awesome. And, make sure you like and subscribe to this channel and help us reach some subscriber goals that we have. Until next time, have a good one.
Bye-bye!